Oh, hello. Seems you caught me in the middle of this classic piece of American literature. Dub Talk presents Bungo Stray Dogs. I heartily recommend it, but there are some things to bear in mind. Warning. This episode contains language and situations that may be inappropriate for some audiences. Listener discretion is advised. This episode also contains spoilers for the entire first season. Please keep this in mind when you watch. And as always, opinions expressed are those of the individual participants and do not reflect Dub Talk as a whole. And always remember, fate is a story. The plot twists are up to you.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to Dub Talk, the podcast where those with supernatural abilities get together and discuss the latest and greatest in anime English dubs. My name is Stephanie, and I am joined by Megan, Roots, and Andrew. The fuck are you doing?
Oh shoot, sorry, you guys caught me in the middle of a good book here.
Roots, I thought you said your dogs are going to be quiet today.
Wow, rude!
I tried.
I am owned by no man or woman. I am free, bitch!
I'm going back to my book.
If you keep howling for the length of the podcast, I'm going to leave and just go jump in the goddamn snowstorm outside right now.
So do I get your anime when you do?
No!
She'll probably live.
Roots, you mentioned something about a book you're reading.
What are you reading, Roots?
Let's see here. How to use an oh shit. How to use and operate a hand mixer.
Wait. Oh, God.
I don't even know where you're going.
Where are you going with it? I thought you were doing a bit about authors.
I never know where I'm going with my humor. That's half the fun.
Oh, boy.
Just know that his humor is localized completely in his kitchen.
Okay, alright. We gotta rein it back in a little bit because we're getting really overboard already.
What, you gotta put that stray dog on a leash?
Shut the fuck up! Alright, so I'm very excited about today's episode among all my cohorts here, because this one has been, of course, been a long time coming. Much like a lot of the episodes we've actually done in the recent months. Today we're actually going to be covering the 2016 series Bungo Stray Dogs. And if you're asking why Megan isn't the host of this episode, it's because she got the host fucking haiku.
I wanted to, Mom wouldn't let me.
I was like, can I host this? Let's make this fair. She's like, fine. So, there we go.
My compensation is knowing that in like 2 weeks' time, I can basically break into a hotel room while she sleeps, while she's laying all cute and nestled in the bed next to Gigi, get really, really close to her and just go,
and then I will proceed to punch you.
See, this is why I got relegated out of a hotel room. It's on my own credit card to go sleep with the boys.
It's not as dirty as you think it is.
It's not.
No, it's not. Sneebs is involved. I can't be dirty.
Shit. Okay.
Just to put a time frame for all of you who have maybe not seen the show, is like, wait a minute, this is a fucking Bone show. Why the fuck haven't I watched this? This came out in the same season as My Hero Academia Season 1, which is also the same season and year that Kisniver, Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress, Haven't You Heard I'm Sakamoto, Tanaka-kun Is Always Listless, Flying Witch, Space Patrol Luluko, ReZero, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, all came out at the same time.
Holy shit.
But anyway, for the people at home, if you haven't heard of this show before, because we keep rambling on forever, here's a little quick summary, and let me tell you about it. Kicked out of his orphanage and stalked by a beastly white tiger, life has been tough for timid 18-year-old Atsushi Nakajima. Little does he know that the real menace lives inside him, a power that catches the attention of the Armed Detective Agency. Using inhuman abilities to combat crime, this peculiar team takes Atsushi under his wing, They take him under the wing of their most eccentric member, Dazai. He may be a suicidal maniac, but Dazai's undying trust gives Atsushi the confidence to earn his stripes. While vicious enemies have their eye on the tiger's lofty bounty, the agency tears through mafia-muddled mysteries that not even the police are willing to handle.
The eyes on the tiger. Haha, somebody tried to make an eye of the tiger joke.
Yep. Which, by the way, did you see on the blog, I think it was either today or yesterday, there was like a post about different music playlists on Spotify for like
all the characters
and Akagawa. No, it's just 3. And for Atashi's, of course, Eye of the fucking Tigers. There's like,
of course it's fucking on there.
That's pretty funny.
But we've been dragging this intro on too long. So anyway, we're gonna be going through the casting of the series, talking about. I'm assuming we're talking about our predictions, because I'm pretty sure we had predictions at some point or another.
I did.
Thoughts on the performances, and... You son of a bitch.
Oh my god.
Alright, Popko, knock it off, please. For those at home who aren't seeing this, Megan turned on her web camera and is now flipping us all off.
Fuck you!
Oh my god.
For the folks at home. Talk about performances and our general opinions on the series as a whole. Now, who's ready to start the investigation as I see Megan pulling out the giant fucking tiger plushie that she has and puts it on her lap?
Oh my god.
It's specifically a giant Atashi plushie!
Yes,
He's
is,
squished.
actually. It's legit. It's
legitimately, if I don't think I've ever actually pulled it up on webcam how big he is.
That is pretty big.
He's like the size of a toddler.
So, we're gonna get started. Of course, we gotta start with our ADR directors and our script writers. Holy sweet baby Jesus, there's a lot of staff in this one. Sorry, we apologize for the long-ass intro. It's a snow day for at least basically 3 of us, because you have snow going on down there too right now, Andrew, right?
Not anymore. It stopped around like noon, 1-ish.
I mean, we have a different type of snow down here. It's white and usually gets you thrown in jail.
Oh.
No, but I guess at this point, Roots and I are the ones affected by the nice snowstorm right now.
Yep.
But anyway, apologies for the long intro. It's been a long day, so we're going to start with ADR directors and script writers. There are 2 directors, 3 script writers. Do we have predictions for these positions, ladies and gentlemen?
I did not have predictions for ADR director and script writers. I think I did when I first predicted this back when I wasn't sure if this was going to be Texas or Cali, but then I lost that file, and then as soon as I got a little more information, I made my predictions accordingly.
We didn't know what coast was going to have it, so I had made full Texas predictions, and then lost them, and didn't have time to repair them before the cast list started coming out.
I did, but again, I got where it was going to be dubbed wrong. Even the California one, I got the staff wrong. So,
well,
I mean, in terms of studio,
what did you get though?
Who did you predict?
What did you have anyway though?
In terms of, I assumed it would be like a Bang Zoom dub if it ended up being California. I had Kirk Thornton and Joel McDonald. Basically, as director
Thornton?
and Durarara times 2.
Oh,
yeah, Kirk Thornton has directed.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, Joel.
And I'm assuming Joel is the writer on it.
Right.
Okay, I can see that happening.
Because 7 Deadly Sins and all that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, he's the
Similar
writer
in
for Hunter x
tone.
Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very possible he could have done it. In terms of my director and writer predictions, I assumed this was going to be a Dallas production, so I had 3 for each of these. Scriptwriters, I had possibly Jeremy Krantz, I had Clint Bickham, and then I also had the team of Monica Rial and Josh Greeley. Each of these writers, I felt like this would be the kind of material that they would enjoy working on. Especially Jeremy, he was my first pick because he's actually an author himself. So I thought that would be a fun and interesting project for him to work on. Director-wise, I had 3 picks. 2 of which were, at the time when I made this prediction list, were more fresh-faced, rather new directors, and then my first choice was one that I was like, this would be the perfect thing for him to work on. So my second and third choices for directors were Clifford Chapin and Aaron Dismuke. And then my first choice in director for this was Christopher Bevins at the time. Because this would be a show that he would probably love to work on. Let's be real here.
I mean, honestly, for my Texas one, I had Afia and Terry kind of co-directing.
Terry?
Because Terry Doty.
I don't think Terry's directed before.
She has done things like way back, like right back,
Okay.
but because Terry Doty's actually a writer, and Afia is really big on
Literature, Japanese literature.
right.
Okay, that makes sense. So just to kind of get this out of the way right now, it's a fairly similar situation to what happened with Mob Psycho that nobody realized was happening, where it is a California-based dub, but it's not. In this case, it's not Bang Zoom; it's Studiopolis who has this one though. So our ADR directors, we have Miss Suzanne Goldish and Rita Majkut. I apologize if I mispronounced the last name. Scriptwriter-wise, our three writers, we have Lucian Dodge, Rita Majkut, and Rob Blatt. So in terms of previous credits for all four of these individuals, Suzanne has been the director for various episodes of Bleach, Sailor Moon, and Tiger and Bunny. While this is actually Rita's first directing and writing credits. Previously, she's been more of a producer on quite a few series, specifically Sailor Moon. The Vismia dub for Sailor Moon comes to mind. Lucian Dodge, the only other thing he is actually written for is Little Witch Academia. And Rob Blatt has written for two other shows, notably Kabanari of the Iron Fortress and Kakeishi, or however the hell you pronounce that.
Kakeishi, I think?
Kakeishi.
I believe. So, this is actually a really interesting staffing-wise. So, how do we feel about the staff of Bungo Stray Dogs?
I guess I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I really did actually like a lot of the casting choices. I thought they were very fun and, especially Daizai. Like, I'll just get that out of the way right now. That Daizai has probably got one of my all-time, I think, favorite castings of the last couple of years. And I think the writing is great, too. Some of the writing in the show is uproariously funny. Like, disgustingly funny in ways I didn't think I ever needed it to be funny. Like, I think one of my favorite, like, especially a lot of the times between Daizai and Kunihita can be some of the best shit in the show.
Yes.
I think just to give you an example of one of my favorite ones is, what I've deduced from this picture is you really don't look that manly. And I think Kunihita's response is, I'll show you how manly I am by punching you in the face. And I think that a lot of the choices that they made for some of these characters were very, very innovative. I do have some directorial or casting issues, and I know this is something that Studiopolis, I think it's just kind of in their modus operandi, not necessarily by choice, but maybe due to potential union restrictions, because I don't know if that is involved. Their double cast. This show has a big cast in quotation marks. But there are some times where certain actors and actresses are double cast as named characters, but they're also background Foley characters.
Yep.
And they are done by voice actors who have incredibly distinct voices. And that's nothing against those actors. I mean, you can't always 100% change the voice that you have, but the directors, Suzanne and Rita, should have been, I think, a little bit more careful about who they had as, like, people who are being gunned down by the mafia. I know, like, at one point, like, Vic Mignogna was, like, two different, like, background characters getting axed.
Yeah.
And it was really, really jarring. But other than that, I don't have any real technical problems with the actual dub itself. But overall, I think this is a really great dub, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised by it, and I feel like my money went to a good place. Because I fucking pre-ordered this before I even knew who the cast was.
Same.
I have the nice limited edition. I am not disappointed.
Alright, who wants to go next?
Alright, I'll give this one a shot then.
Okay.
I very much enjoy a lot of the character directions, performances, there was a lot of really good performances, and a lot of different actors and actresses had performed different ranges of these characters, because this is a show that can get really serious, hardcore action violent, and also be outrageously, uproariously funny. So to get a majority of your cast to be able to pull off both pretty seamlessly is not easy, and I think they played those all very naturally and very well. I think that's really good. A lot of the script and character interactions are really outrageously funny. I'm not going to say any right now because they're more related to some of the characters, but I think it's really funny. Like I said, the double casting thing is what I consider a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing, because it's never a deal breaker for me. At the very least, it's not a deal breaker if it's like there is enough distinct difference between who is performing the characters. And I think every person we will mention that comes up more than once is distinct and unique enough every time they show up as a different character, and that's fine by me. It's one of those things where it's like, I think California stuff is sometimes more expensive to make, and or actors cost more because there's different relations. There's a lot of differences in regards to California and Texas that we ourselves who do not work in this stuff don't understand, but I kind of write it off as like there are some funding structural differences, and I don't blame it. And it is a big cast, and you have a lot of different individual people, so getting even anybody like to recall or repeat again, that's not a big deal to me, and I can excuse it, especially in this show, because they are all distinct and stand out enough to begin with.
Roots, how do you feel about the directing and writing on the show?
There are two things that I look for with, like, in terms of background characters, and that is whether or not they're snappy and bantery, and show has that in spades. I have to give the direction and writing a lot of credit, because they do a lot of these characters justice in ways that, you know, dubs in other regions, not necessarily like Dallas or Houston, but maybe other
There's a Bone show that got kind of screwed lately, we'll say that.
Yeah, but that may be something we deal with another day. I really have to give props to the casting as well, because there were some pretty ballsy choices. One of which we will be getting to toward the end that I was really, really impressed with. Script writing nailed the humor down and managed to add a little bit more punch to the more serious, dramatic, and action scenes.
So, in terms of the writing, I'm going to start there. I say it's because it's been it's been a couple of years actually since I've seen the Japanese, but I think the writing stays rather faithful to it. There's nothing really that's seems odd or troubling to me, which is very interesting considering like 2 out of these 3 writers have, basically all 3 of these writers have like virtually almost little to no experience. Like Rita, again, this is her first time writing. Lucian has only written for Little Witch, and Rob has only written for 2 other shows, one of which is another recent one that's come out, and another one is one from a few years back, and I don't know how well that went. So considering the lack of experience between the 3 of them, the fact that they're able to create a cohesive and rather straightforward and faithful script or adaptation here, I think that's awesome. I have to commend them for that. Directing wise, I'm pretty mixed on it, honestly, because while there are some brilliant casting choices and performances in this show, there are some, I know we were talking about like double casting. Here's my thing on double casting. Background characters, I can forgive. They're background characters, they're one-note characters. It's fine. I'll be okay. There's 2 characters in particular we're going to talk about that I think has the biggest problem with this issue, and I'll just say that because I just don't understand the logic behind it, honestly. But aside from that, there are also some rather odd casting choices, some of which worked, some of which I was hesitant on, and some of which I still have slight reservations about by the end of it. But that's a conversation that we're gonna have once we start getting into these characters a bit more. But overall, it's honestly really solid. Like, I fell in love with the show all over again.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Agreed.
I'm very happy about it. And I just want season 2. I want season 2 so bad.
Face it, we all want it for, like, that first arc about Daizai's backstory.
Yes!
Yeah!
I'm so
Yeah, I saw
excited!
Oh boy!
Saw that preview and I'm just like, yeah, that sounds really good. I want that.
I actually taught the DVD off before that preview, so I didn't know if that character, they gave him a voice!
No, they didn't!
No.
They didn't.
Ah!
No, it's just Dazai. Dazai's
Dazai! Dazai,
and,
you fucking ham!
and I mean, I think the other reason why we want season 2 so badly is because we want to see more of these American Guild members, don't we?
Da da da
Da,
da
da,
da
da,
da
CGI.
Please rise for the Eagle Land National Anthem.
I'm kind of scared how well in sync that ended up.
Welcome to Eagle Land, old sport.
Alright, so the first 2 characters.
By
we're
the
gonna
way,
talk
we did
about-
not plan that at all.
Alright, so the first 2 characters we're gonna talk about, they come in the last 2 episodes of the show, but we're gonna talk about them because they are gonna be prominent in the second season. And it's a good time as any to discuss them. So we're going to talk about 2 members of the Guild, which is basically the American version of the Armed Detectives Agency. However, they are
But
basically
evil.
filled with supernaturally gifted individuals who basically
From
are
Eagle Land.
corrupt, in a sense. So the 2 characters we're going to be talking about who are from the Guild, we're going to be talking about Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald, who is the leader of the Guild, and of course he is the personification of F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Every American high schooler's greatest enemy.
Excuse you, I love The Great Gatsby. Fuck off.
Whoa, guys! Hey, look, everybody! We found the one person who likes The Great Gatsby.
Shut your poor mouth. It's a good book. Leave me alone.
At least it's not the cat turning the rye.
Could you imagine if they actually... Oh yeah, by the way, if you haven't guessed the gag of this show, it's
Yeah.
basically the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but less shitty.
Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald is the leader of the Guild, and he's a rich, cocky son of a bitch, basically.
Can I explain that basically his introduction in the show is, I own, 5 conglomerates, 3 hotel, an airline, and a university.
Something like that,
Hard noises.
Yeah,
Humming intensifies.
and his special ability is known as, I believe it's called the Great Gatsby, which
No
in season-
shit.
Of course. Which in season 1 it's not used. So for the sake of people who want to watch the show, and when season 2 eventually comes out, we're not going to explain what it is.
Can I TLDR it at least without giving it away?
If you can.
Weaponized capitalism.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
I would like to make a Twitter post for that.
Oh lord. The other individual we're going to be discussing is Miss Lucy Maud Montgomery. She is a member of the Guild as well. She is supposed to be after... Who's supposed to be?
She's Lucy Maud Montgomery.
These are pretty easy,
author-
Steph. Come on.
She's the author of Anne of Green Gables.
Thank you. I never read that story, so thank you. She's the author of Anne and Green Gables, based off of her. And she's an orphan, much like our lead character Atsushi, who obviously we're going to discuss last. But the Guild found her, decided to take her in and use her powers for corrupt means. Her special ability is known as Anne of the Abysmal Red, which allows her to create an alternate reality known as Anne's Room, in which people are imprisoned if they get caught by Anne the monster.
Lucy Maud Montgomery's power. Fun box. Oh, fun box. Small and square and dark. Fun box. Oh, fun box. Check out these cool fun locks.
Oh my god.
So...
I'd like to think all 5 of you understood that reference.
So anyway, did anyone actually decide to try predictions for these 2 characters? I actually did.
I don't have predictions for either of these characters. I have predictions for The entire agency and a couple of key members of Port Mafia. I don't have any for the
Same with
guild.
me. Same with me. That's what I went with on mine. I didn't get to do any of the guild.
I actually did.
What did you try for? What'd you do?
Only for the California cast, though.
Okay.
Okay.
It's, for, Margaret M, I had Christina V, and for F. Scott Fitzgerald, Paul St. Peter.
So, the individuals voicing these characters, for Miss Lucy Maud Montgomery, we actually do have Christina V.
Oh, hey!
Hey! So, and she's been in series such as Magi, Alnoa Zero, and Tales of Cysteria. And as for Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald, we have one Mr. Chris Hackney, who has been in series such as A Lull in the Sea, Mob Psycho 100, and Testament of New Sister Devil. Megan, you want to start us off with this?
America. Fuck yeah, and I couldn't do it.
That was so bad.
Oh,
Damn it.
Gross.
This is why I'm adopted. Speaking of things that are adopted, Lucy Maud Montgomery, as played by Christina V. By the way, there should be a drinking game to Bungo Stray Dogs, which is take a drink anytime somebody flashes back to an orphanage.
Take a drink.
Yes.
You will be dead.
If adopted,
or at
She
the very
alone
least,
will kill
glimpse
you.
out of your skull.
if adopted,
She
take
alone will
alcohol.
kill you.
Please continue.
Eagle Creek beer, it gets you shit faced. Anyway, no, I was like, holy hell, Christina V, why does Lucy show up basically in like the last episode?
Yeah.
Because I know she becomes a bigger part of season 2 when they fight the guild, but she put such a fantastic start to just a 1-episode character for season 1.
Agreed.
And you're like, it's just so, she's such a good actress, and I'm like, and her range is honestly getting to be like fucking terrifying. The biggest thing I've watched with Christina V all the way through is not Magi, is Love Live, and Kotori is the complete opposite end of Brace Face McCreeperson. Like, there's a shot that is like Faces of Anime terrifying worthy. Like, it makes the Kakigurui girls like take a step back.
Is it the one with the bow tie braces?
It's the one with the
Yes.
braces.
No, so she was great, and I honestly thought her fight against Atashi, which also, by the way, has like I think like the one overt swear in the whole show, which is oh shit, when she grabs him, was fantastic. And then Chris Hackney, I'm not as familiar with Chris Hackney as everybody else. I haven't watched Mob Psycho, and I'm probably never going to watch Testament of a Sister New Devil because I respect myself. And I own A Lull in the Sea, and I just haven't watched it. I've owned it for like 2 years. Hey, there's an episode idea. But he was great. I mean, my one thing was, like, if he didn't say the phrase old sport at least once, I was gonna give this dub a 0 out of 10.
He did, though, so we're good.
I mean, he's not Leo DiCaprio level, but then again, which one of us is?
Are any of us ever, really?
Well, I was gonna say, the Oscars fucked it up, because I was gonna say the only level that we would have been on with Leo DiCaprio is that the same amount of Oscars, but that got fucked up last year.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they were both really great. I think they set a really good foundation for, what's to come. I also like that Chris Hackney didn't play, Fitzgerald as overly hammy or as overly, cocky. Like, he was cocky, but he was well within, like, a normal human realm at this point. Which is a really good way to set up a character, because I feel like if he came in, like, already at, like, 100% ham over the top, it kind of would have ruined the character.
Yeah.
And it would have ruined the threat level I think you're supposed to feel. Because, again, this is a guy whose character suddenly makes a building full of people just disappear.
Yeah.
Or has command over someone who can make a building disappear. But anyway, both of them were great, and I'm gonna shut the hell up.
Andrew.
Cool. Okay. Christina V is a fantastic actress. Straight up, I don't even have much more to say. She does a great job at being adorable, psycho, crazy. Christina V is really good at being this crazy, maniacal, cutesy person while also being, like, seemingly vulnerable and sincere, but also dangerous and deadly. No, seriously, Christina V is a fantastic actress. Every time I hear her nowadays, she impresses the hell out of me, and man, I'm really excited to hear what she brings up in season 2. F. Scott Fitzgerald. My biggest familiarity with Chris Hackney is Illumi, because he is the voice of Killua's older brother, Illumi, in Hunter Hunt. Oh my fucking god, Christina V's Killua.
Oh!
As someone who has not seen Hunter x Hunter,
Oh, boy.
I did not realize that.
Andrew just kind of like just had that moment of like,
Oh my
you know
god.
that gif where the guy like trips out?
Oh my god.
No. Eric Wareheim, that gif of Eric Wareheim just doing the mind blown.
Oh god, that's
Yeah.
exactly what just happened to me. Holy shit, it's amazing. Anyways, back on track. F. Scott Fitzgerald, he's pompous, arrogant, and rich as hell. I quite enjoyed the persona he gives off in the episode we've seen of this, but Chris is real good. I adore the dub also adding the old sport into his dialogue to make him very authentically Fitzgerald. I really like the tone that Chris gives for this. It's not, like I said, I'm used to Illumi, which is much more stoic and like almost listless, while this is much more pompous and arrogant, and here's a lot of money, and it's great. I like what I've heard of both. Can't wait for season 2. Let's get season 2 soon. Okay, thanks.
Please, Kay, thanks. Bye. Roos.
Okay, so I'll start with F. Scott Fitzgerald. I was kind of worried at first that they were kind of gonna go with one of the, like, that strong Massachusetts waspy accent. You know, that, the snobby accent. I'm really glad they didn't really go with that, but he does kind of have that rich waspy swagger to him. And I like Megan and Andrew said, I really like that they kind of threw in the old sport. Like, just makes him sound like a pompous asshole. It's great. I can't wait to hear...
He is a pompous asshole.
I can't wait to see more of him in season 2. Christina V. Like, there are three stages of her character that she has to nail. Sort of the innocent little girl you meet her as, psycho mode as soon as you're in the room with her and you're playing her game, and then panicking as she's being dragged into her own trap. And I'm glad to say, like, she nailed all three.
Christina V. Ooh, boy. Lucy is such a broken little girl. Like, because the big thing with Lucy is, like I was saying earlier, she is an orphan just like Atsushi is, but she's not treated as special by anyone, not in the orphanage and not by the guild. So she has some jealousy and resentment, I guess, towards Atsushi because of that, and she just seems so broken. Like this, that, and it ends up just kind of goes into her madness in a sense, because she is a little bit nuts. And sweet lord, does Christina V pull that off so well. Like, I don't think I've heard Christina V pull off a role similar to this before, and it's just downright phenomenal, amazing to me. And so is Chris Hackney so far as Francis Scott Fitzgerald. Jesus, because he's so sneaky, so slimy, and he's just a huge, arrogant, pompous little shit. Probably an even
with
larger
money.
I mean, and even an even larger one than Rompo when we get to Rompo. But I want more. This, like, both Chris and Christina, they set really good foundations for these characters, and I'm just like, I'm ready for this next season. Give me this next season. Let's fucking go right now. I just want it so bad. But yeah, I really like Chris and Christina's performances here. As short as they are in the first season, it just makes me want more, like, right away. And that's what's important here with shows like this, that you want more.
I was also going to say a running theme of tonight is that we're going to be very appreciative of actors getting different roles than we're used to them hearing.
Alright, the next two characters we have, they are, oh boy, they are the leaders of the Armed Detective Agency and the Port Mafia, respectively.
They put the capital B in boss.
They are the boss men. Haha! So we have Yukichi Fukizawa. He is the leader of the Armed Detective Agency. And he's also, we actually kind of find this out a little bit more in season 2. He's actually Kunikita's mentor. His special ability is all men are equal, but he doesn't actually use it in the show. And then we have from the Port Mafia side, Ogai Mori. He is again the leader of the Port Mafia, and his ability is called Viva Sexuala. Wow.
Viva Sextalis.
Vita Sextalis. Thank you. Sextalis. Which he doesn't use. I don't think we ever see him actually use it in either season of the show. Actually.
Yeah, he doesn't use it in it, but I can look up what each of them do for you if you don't mind.
I already have Wikipedia open. That's why I have this.
Can we talk about what it's called, though?
Well,
Vita Sextalis?
Vita Sexalis, which makes me think, man, Mori just wants to fuck a PlayStation Vita. And you know what? It's a good console. Let him whip it out for the Vita.
Why? Why would you think that?
Andrew, go sit in the corner.
I'm already in a corner. You can't stop me.
So on that note, do we have predictions for these two characters? I do.
I predict that I need an adult.
I also have that prediction, but I have another prediction, not for Mori, but for Fukuzawa.
What do you have?
This is a second casting thing after it was made clear this is in fact a California-based dub. So I centered my predictions around that. And I figured in regards to old man voice, I had 2 in mind realistically in my thought process. I thought, you know who's really good at being really like old, gruff, badass men? Ray Chase. He's 30, but he's really good at pulling off like gruff, badass.
He's also really good at making me want to launch all of his characters into space.
Yeah.
By that you mean Yukiatsu, but honestly,
Mostly Yukiatsu.
In regards to my second choice, I was also thinking Kyle A. Bear would have been a really good pick as well.
Okay.
Oh,
Anybody else have predictions for these two?
I actually do.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 for Fukuzawa, mainly, Texas and LA.
Mm-hmm.
For the Texas side, I had Randy Perlman, and for the LA side, I had Jameson Price.
Okay.
And I only had an LA one for Ogai. I knew this wasn't gonna happen. He's mainly like a cartoon voice actor, but a man by the name of James Patrick Stewart.
Oh my god!
Really?
Really?
No,
Fucking
no,
really?
no, not Sir Patrick Stewart.
Oh.
Similar name, different guy. He plays Zigbar in Kingdom Hearts.
I actually had 3 for each of these. Again, I made this list like probably after the first season aired, and I again based it on Dallas. So for Morty, I'm gonna start with him. I actually went with 3 individuals who I know could voice rather the slimy, devious, cunning bossmen. Those being J. Michael Tatum, Ian Sinclair, and Eric Vale. Meanwhile, Fukuzawa was interesting because I went with a couple one obviously gruff, manly kind of guy, that being Robert McCollum. The other 2, one was very interesting, and I'm pretty sure I put him here after watching Sir Vamp at that year, and it was Chuck Huber.
I could have seen that.
Yeah, and then the third person I have, and he was actually my first choice, but this was before, unfortunately, scheduling conflicts came into play the following year. I actually had Alex Organ as my first choice initially for Fukuzawa.
Okay.
Yeah. Similar, because I figure, like, it's like a Deckham /
Yeah. I mean,
Makishima from Psycho-Pass kind of deal.
Then again, considering this wasn't a simuldub, it might have been able to be swung.
Right, exactly. But what we have instead... Roots, I don't know how you're doing this today. We have Jameson Price's Fukuzawa, the leader of the Armed Detective Agency. He has been in series such as Code Geass, Gunkotsu, The Count of Monte Cristo, and Eureka 7. As for Mori, This one makes me happy. It's Keith Silverstein, who has been in series such as Blood Lad, Fate Apocrypha, and Monster. Oh, Monster, my favorite show.
I need to import that show. I miss it so much.
Someday my prince will come.
Like,
someday.
$150 on eBay. It's an Australian DVD. Get it.
Will come.
You need a region player too, don't you?
Yeah, but those are like cheap nowadays.
Well, either way, I'm just like, why?
Yeah.
Viz, you fucked up. I'm sorry, you done fucked up. Anyway.
Dear diary, today Viz fucked up.
Forgive us, Viz. You're cool, but this is...
So, Megan, please tell us, did these two fuck up or not?
No, they did not.
Not by a long shot.
Let's start with let's start off with the PS Vita fucker.
God damn it!
Look.
I mean, it's not a touchscreen, so at least if he gets that stuff on it, it'll still be usable.
Megan!
Andrew started it!
But you don't need to keep going. Now stop it!
Sorry, Mom.
What do you think of these guys?
I'm dying! I think no. It was really funny was when I was watching the last episode, which is kind of there's only 2 times you really actually hear Mori talk.
Yes.
And that's in episode 11 and episode 12. Mm-hmm. And holy hell, I forget how good of an actor Keith Silverstein is, even though I just did an episode that he was on. It's really funny that you mentioned Fate Apocrypha, because I only realized that Maury was Keith Silverstein because for a split second he sounded like Shakespeare from Apocrypha. I was like, oh hey, there's Keith Silverstein. So that's what happened when he faded from existence. But no, he was great, and I think he is absolutely chilling.
Yeah.
When you hear him talk. Because in episode 11, when you hear him talk, it is just his voice. You don't see his face. You don't see him. You only learn that he is the leader of the Port Mafia at the very last second of season 1. Like, that's kind of the last image that you see is all of these other really threatening characters bowing down to him over a corpse. Because when you see him in the rest of the episode, he is a bumbling idiot. And I think Keith Silverstein plays that line so well. And then, for the love of God, can Jameson Price adopt me in this show? I want to be a member of the Armed Detective Agency. And I think that he has such a big, commanding, and powerful voice in the show, which is really good for the character. Because the president of the Armed Detective Agency is everybody respects them openly except for Rampo, who does still respect him, because I think this is probably one of my other favorite moments in the show.
Yeah.
Is they're trying to find Atashi, who has finally been kidnapped by Octagawa. And Rampo doesn't want to help because Rampo's a fucking asshole. He's a big immature asshole. And he goes, Rampo, if you do this for me, I'll give you a reward. And Rampo's like, yeah, well, I don't want money or anything. There's nothing you get me. I'll give you praise.
No. You gotta do the line right.
Yeah.
What is
I'll
it?
give you
praise.
And then all of a sudden,
and then Rampo's like, okay, bitch. That's like that. It's also be one of the funniest moments, but I think that's also a really good like thing to encapsulate. I think Jameson Price's performance down into is that he's a very nice guy, but he's very, very deep spoken and very reserved. I think another moment, if you also want a good grasp on what the performance in the character does, when he talks to Fitzgerald about why he won't give them the license.
Yeah.
Even though Fitzgerald drops about a bunch of money in front of him.
And a watch.
Yes, and a watch.
Fancy.
Can't forget about that fucking watch.
No, with the pink encrusted diamonds on it.
Diamonds?
No.
That's a pot sweetener if ever there was one.
Just let me tell you the time of my pink encrusted watch. It's the Sylveon edition.
God damn it.
Anyway, I'm good, and you guys all have a great day.
All right.
Andrew.
Okay, so first off, Mori. I make jokes because I find it kind of fascinating, the contrast between this very dark, evil-looking man that commands the mafia is also friends with this tiny little blonde Lolita child donned in red. I think it's a very distinct image, but it also makes him stand out completely. Because, like, when you first see him, he is, like, of course, that weirdo off the street looking for, like, his missing daughter, and he's talking about his kid like he's, Mace Hughes.
Maze Hughes.
That's exactly what I was
Yes.
thinking. He was treating it like that, but then you see...
Has anyone seen my PS Vita?
Stop it!
Her name is not Elise, her name is Vita.
Damn it, keep going.
Has anyone seen my PS Vita? She's girl-shaped.
Shut up! We're gonna be here all night if you don't stop.
Vita is love, Vita is
You motherfucker!
I'm done.
No, you're not. I know you're not.
Okay. Okay.
We're doing a Sword Art Online episode if you don't quit it.
Shh, okay. So, Keith Silverstein does a really good job making him seem deceptively cheery and or silly when he's like in that episode. But then you see his true colors and that he is much more powerful, intimidating, and ferocious than we give him credit for. And Keith Silverstein is great at both. He's great at these eccentric, goofy people, but he's also these really intimidating, scary people also. And his voice is so distinct, and it's really, really suits this character. Now, Fukuzawa, Jameson Price, that is just a real goddamn sexy voice. And now that I know that you appreciate Jameson Price's voice now, Megan, I can now further convince you and say that Fate Zero, he plays the best character in Fate Zero. So look forward to that.
Mhm.
Not only that, I love the fact that every time his character enters the room, he has like the sexiest guitar riff that accompanies him as soon as he walks in the room. It's like, what up, bitches?
Yeah.
I own this place. It's so, I don't remember the tune, but it just every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, that sounds so good. But his voice,
I feel like I have to find it.
his
again
voice
now.
is so
Hold on.
distinct, but so powerful, commanding, but you can tell he genuinely cares about his men and his people, and I love that scene of him where, like, he's essentially confronting the greatest challenge in the series. Not Fitzgerald, Kyoka. When he's staring down Kyoko and she's just like,
That
I'd
was
like to
good.
join. Please consider. Please consider.
Yeah, and then it's just like
Please
dramatic tension to
consider-
like Japanese guitar, and then he's just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I love that. But no, just his presence and his voice is so powerful and stands out, and I think he does a great job, and I think both of these leaders do a good job.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find the fucking song.
Sorry, Shinya's jumped back into my arms, and she now wants out of my arms.
Yeah!
I found it! Like, can you even imagine, guys? Like, holy shit!
I wish that was my walking theme.
You know what my walking theme? I wish my walking theme was.
What?
But you can tell the way they use my walking performance man. No time to talk.
Alright.
You know what?
Staying alive, staying alive.
You know what my walking theme would be?
What?
What?
My opinion on these two characters.
Ah!
Alright, so I
There
better
we
start
go.
with Mori. I'm really glad Andrew brought up the Mace Hughes analogy, because I've actually been... Who was that character from Full Metal Alchemist that... off the tip of my tongue, you know?
Oh, you know, another Bone show.
Right. He plays, like, the dad to a little girl really well. He doesn't get to be sort of the intimidating mob boss until the very, very end of the last episode of the season. And I really like that, because I loved Keith Silverstein as William Shakespeare. And this kind of gave me similar vibes.
Clearly, I need to see Fate Apocrypha. 'cause I
Yes.
feel
You
like I'm
don't
the only-
really.
Oh, you do.
Only for that. Only for Shakespeare, though. apparently.
Okay, you
Yeah.
actually want to watch. You want to watch Fate Apocrypha for 3 reasons.
Okay.
Mordred. Well, okay, 4 reasons. Mordred.
Yep.
Keith Silverstein as as Shakespeare. Faye Mata as Alstofo.
Okay.
And Chris Niosi as
Karna.
Lord of my heart, best Lancer. He's really fucking hot, Steph.
Okay.
Like, he's really fucking attractive.
Steph,
no, but the
you
main
don't
thing
know.
for me is Shakespeare, though.
Like, I'm sorry, Steph, you will come to my side and want Karna body pillows.
I would never subject myself to a body pillow. I know I'm
Not
You
with that
will
attitude.
now.
Roots.
Yeah. All right. So I should get to
Fukuzawa.
Thank you. I'm a really big fan of Jameson Price's voice. Like, for a really long time, too. Like, I want to say, like, Digimon Season 2? When he was, Oikawa?
I forgot. He
Oh god, he was Oikawa?
I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah,
He was Oikawa.
Insert the Luluco face there.
He plays Fukuzawa really like a father figure to all these sons, and he knows
and daughters.
and then daughters. He knows exactly how to motivate each and every one of them to do their job at the best of their ability. His voice is so gentle and yet so stern. Like that last episode where he's in the mental battle with F. Scott Fitzgerald. Like, that was some good stuff. My god, I really hope he shows up more in Season 2 than he did in Season 1. Like, maybe get an action scene, too.
You're gonna see more of the two of them.
Awesome.
I'm gonna start with Jameson Price. You want it first of all, since we were talking about sexy voices and characters that he's done. First of all, Gunkotsuo is best, so I will hear an argument.
I need to watch that still.
Yes,
It's on my
Same,
queue.
I've never seen it.
You need to see it. It's so bad. It's so good. Yeah, Jameson Price. It's always a fun time when Jameson Price gets to be a character in a show to me, because he's just. I've never had a problem with his performances ever, and Fukuzawa here is no different. He is such a strong, tough leader of the agency, and he is like a surrogate dad, like a foster dad for all these gifted agents of his, and
All these idiots.
He's crop of idiots. But you can also tell he can be a little bit of a softie at times. Like you were saying before, that interaction where he and Kyoka are staring each other down. Like, you can tell he can be a bit of a softie. But yeah, Jameson Price is phenomenal. Jameson Price is obviously phenomenal. I'm here more to talk about Keith Silverstein, though, because if y'all don't remember, Monster's my favorite fucking series ever. And
That's funny. I thought your favorite series ever was Brothers Conflict.
you shut your whore mouth. And if you guys never seen Monster before, first of all, you need to find a way
Blame
to do
Viz.
so. And blame Viz.
Okay.
But second of all, he
We're-
plays the titular monster Johann Liebert. And that was my introduction to Keith Silverstein as an actor at the time. I am more used to hearing Keith Silverstein as these very, very cunning and dark and menacing characters. Mori is no different. But what's fun about Mori is that he's very deceptive. He's very good at deception. Because in episode 12, remember, like we were talking about, while he is in Anne's room with Atsushi and Tanizaki, he puts on this facade that he's a retired local physician looking for his daughter and that whole bit, and he pulls a similar Maze Hughes act. And it was a lot of fun to see him play a little bit more goofy, like, where's my daughter? I can't find her, Elise! But then when you, like, see that facade just disappear, that's where I'm like, ooh, that's the Keith Silverstein performances I know of. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. And it's so great. Like, Keith Silverstein and Chris Hackney's Fitzgerald are the two that I'm like, I need season 2 now.
You know, it just occurred to me. You
What?
love Keith Silverstein as really cunning, like, deceptive villains. You know what you
Mhm.
need to watch, Steph?
What do I need to watch?
Hunter x Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Silverstein and his glowing dong.
His glowing expand dong.
Anyway, but yeah, Keith Silverstein, I absolutely adore him when he's playing these very, very cunning and menacing characters, because I think it's more because his vocal tone, his natural range, just seem to fit those character types so easily, and it just works so well, and it makes me smile. I think that's really what it comes down to. But yeah, both him and Jameson Price, I love their performances in this show. But similar to Chris Hackney, I need more Keith Silverstein, please. I need more Mori, please. Can we have season 2 now? Anyway. Yep. We get to move on?
Yes.
Yes.
More season 2 of Bungo now, less ReZero.
Okay. Megan, you stop that. You sit down.
I am sitting down. What do you want me to do? Go back to my home in the pit of hell?
What are you talking about? Megan, you live in Florida. You're already there.
Damn it! That's correct.
Anyway.
Fuck! I've been had! Those aren't palm trees outside, those are flaming pillars! That's not an alligator! That's just Satan riding a bigger alligator!
God damn it. Alright. We need to move on.
Yeah.
So the
I
next
like how the segment began with, like, jacking off to a PS Vita and ended with talking about how Florida is actual hell.
This one's gonna be long. I'm sorry.
It's gonna be so worth it!
Like, as long as it's
Welcome
not
to
3
Dub
hours, I think
Talk.
we'll be good.
It's gonna be.
Let's move on.
Welcome to Dub Talk, where we make complete asses of ourselves and sometimes talk about English.
Where we
anime
talk
dubs.
about literally anything but English dubs. Then we talk about English dubs. Then we talk about anything
Welcome
but
to-
English dubs again.
And welcome to Pug Talk.
So, after that wonderful distraction of us not talking about English dubs, let's talk about English dubs. So
So
the
we
next
can get
season-
back to the not English dubs.
The next 2 groups of characters, we're going to stick to more prominent members of the Port Mafia for a few minutes. So the first 3, we're going to talk about the next 3. They are members of the big hitman squad known as the Black Lizard. So we have Ryuyo Hirutsu. He is the old man. He's basically the main commander, the leader of the Black Lizard, and he actually has a special ability known as Falling Camellia, which sends objects flying at it with a powerful force.
Whee!
Then we also have Michizo Tachiwada, who is a commander among the Black Lizard. As far as we know, he does not have a special ability, but he's very short-tempered, and he likes to shoot things. And then we have Geen. Geen is a very mysterious
Figure.
commander for the Black Lizard as well. They are very quiet. They like to stab things, and I'm using the pronoun of they because it's not made clear what gender this individual is. Did anyone have predictions for these 3 individuals?
I
'Cause
did not.
I don't.
Nope.
I didn't have any either, actually.
All right.
I have a prediction for Gin.
You what?
They're played by The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel.
God damn it.
You bastard. Anyway.
That is probably the smartest joke I've ever made on this podcast.
You son of a bitch. Alright, so the individuals voicing these characters, as Hirotsu, the leader of the Black Lizard, we have Mr. Greg Chun, who, his previous credits are actually really interesting. The only other named character that he has been previously is actually in Occultic 9. And he...
I'm so sorry.
But otherwise than that, he doesn't have a lot of credits, and the rest of his credits are minor background characters in series like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders, The Egyptian Ark, and Mob Psycho 100. As for Tachiwada, we have one Mr. Ben Diskin, who has been in series. Very extensive resume, this man. Blood Lad, Erased, and 7 Deadly Sins. And as for Geen... we don't know.
They are, in fact, played by The Sound of Silence.
But here's the thing, because Geen is a silent character in the first season, we don't have an official casting.
Geen doesn't talk, but Geen's really cool.
Gein's really cool, and Gein's part of the Black Lizard. So I don't care what anyone says. I wanted to include Gein because Gein is fucking cool. Anyway, so Megan, what are your thoughts primarily on Ben Diskin and Greg Chun as these two Black Lizard members?
I'm staring at the cover of the manga trying to make a fucking Kids Next Door code name out of it.
Please don't.
I'll try to by the end of the episode. No. I really actually enjoyed both of them. I would have thought that they would have tried to play Hirotsu a little bit older because he looks like an old man.
Right.
He's 50, he's over 50, which is pretty cool. Like, but they didn't give him like a stereotypical like old man voice, which I'm very appreciative of.
That's what I like about it too, yeah.
But no, I really liked Greg Chun. I wish that he would that this character would show up more in the season just to hear Greg Chun talk. But for me the real standout was Tachihara, because I could not believe that was Ben Diskins for like a good solid minute. I was like, that's not Nigel Uno. Because the things I mostly equate Ben Diskins as are like Bon, younger Joseph, who sounds like a drunk party boy. Because
the
Joseph
best,
Joestar
the
is
best
a drunk
JoJo.
party boy.
The best JoJo.
That's fucking debatable.
Josuke.
Fuck you, Joseph is best JoJo. Fight me, bitch.
I'm sorry, that's not how you fucking spell Jolene.
Fuck you.
You know what? When,
That's
where, and how
not
hard.
Johnny.
Whoa! Wow.
I'm not caught up with the manga. I don't even know.
But no, I loved them. And I think for me, one of my favorite kind of moments in the show is actually between them and Kenji. When Kenji throws them all out the window.
Yes.
And the first time I saw that scene in English, I was in fucking tears. Wee! 1, 2, woo! That's more talking about Kenji's actor than anything.
Oh, God.
One
but no,
unconscious
they were
move.
just two unconscious mooks getting defenestrated.
Jesus Christ. Anyway.
By the way, I only know what the word defenestration means, and I'm going to say this by like one video series, and there's a bunch of people who are not going to get this joke, and then the other half of us are just going to all internally sigh in our heads. I learned what that is because of Demic's time.
That's flown right over my head.
The Roots gets it!
Oh yeah, I get it.
Anyway, no, I thought they were great. I want to hear more of them. Hopefully they come back next season, so there's that.
I just want to say one quick thing. When you were watching the show earlier, you wrote in the Twitter that to our little chat, you're like, that's not Ben!
Ben! Fuck you, it's not Ben!
And I'm like, yes. Yes, it is. You were in such disbelief. But anyway.
I have one of those
not,
moments
like-
coming up later.
Okay.
Andrew, how do you feel about Ben and Greg's performances?
Before I go on, I would like to say I already beat Megan to the Kids Next Door Operation anagram already.
Oh.
Operation Bungo. Black Undercover Network goes overboard.
Ho ho ho!
Now you have to do the rest of it.
Fuck. You know what? Wait for the rest of the night.
Ha! Bitch!
Good enough. Good enough.
Wait for the rest of the night.
I mean,
Anyways,
he made the operation out of the most difficult word to go with.
Okay.
So that's good enough.
anyways, so in regards to Ben Diskin, this was kind of what I expected more or less from Ben Diskin, but he was a lot more gruff and like trash boy, I guess is the aesthetic I was thinking of this character. I thought
Okay, Gigi.
and that's what I thought. He was very like edgy wannabe gangster boy, even though he was actual gangster boy, but I think it works very well for this character. I like him. I want to talk more about Greg Chun, because this is a name I'm less familiar with, but
I know nothing about this guy.
I really, really like his voice. Maybe it was just this particular, like, gentlemanly older person. I think his voice is really, really good. Something a very, like, official and menacing, but also, like, actually kind of commanding and powerful. And it's really, really distinct voice. Like, of a lot of actors where it's like, I'm either aware of who they are and am just hearing them do new ranges. This is an actor I'm less familiar with, but I really liked what I heard of him.
Roots, how do you feel about Ben and Greg's performances?
I really like Ben Diskin. I really liked his sort of, it's not quite the same, but sort of his Kill la Kill voice.
I haven't. Here's the thing, and you're gonna hate me for it. I haven't seen the dub of Kill la Kill.
Okay.
I don't know what character
it's on Hulu now if you want to check it out.
Well, yeah.
I'm
I mean,
actually-
what character does Ben play in Kill?
He's yeah, I know he's the boxing
He
guy.
plays-
The boxing guy is who I'm referring to, by the way.
Okay.
Oh no, I don't know him as the boxing guy. I know him as the literal fucking street talking guy from.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either. This is gonna bug me. Go on, continue.
Yeah, the guy from Osaka, I think it was.
Right.
Oh, Takarada!
Yeah, Takarada. Thank you.
The Rarara?
Yeah. No.
No, because I remember the fucking reason I ever watched the Kill la Kill dub is because of him, and it was like, I get money to all these grandmas better, faster than a pimp slaps a hoe, yo.
Yeah, it's great.
What?
It's great, Steph.
That's an actual fucking line!
Dude, you need to watch Kill la Kill. We're gonna make that.
Kill la Kill's dub is so good!
No, I've seen the show, I just haven't seen the dub.
Yeah, dub's
It's like
real
faster than a
good.
pimp slap a hoe, yo!
I'm so late to the party on this, apparently.
Okay.
It's okay. We're all late to the party on a couple dubs.
Anyway, Roots, continue.
I really liked that gruff and tough voice he uses. I really hope he gets to do more anime where he gets to use it.
Mhm.
And, oh my god, Greg Chun. He's a really good contrast to Ben Diskin. He's stern, he's commanding, but he's also gentlemanly. Like, he never loses his temper, never changes his demeanor. It's just this cold, calculating presence, and I really like it.
So, Greg Chun obviously is the lesser known, I think probably one of the more lesser known actors in the entire cast. Save for one other, and we're actually going to get to him in the next section. But I agree with everything you guys have said. I actually, unfortunately, didn't write any notes on Greg, but it's not the old man voice I was expecting, but it's the old man voice I really wanted. It's not stereotypical old man. It does have that air of regal, gentlemanly, and it's a nice touch, and I really like it. And I want to see Greg in more things. Ben Diskin.
Give Greg Chun more work.
Yes, Ben Diskin. The closest role to this one here is, I would actually say, is Blood Lad as Wolf.
I still
guys,
need to
I did
get
it.
to that.
You do, because
I also need to.
you do, because here's my thing. There's a reason why I said that Spazzy Pappenbrook is best Pappenbrook, and I'm going to leave it at that. But yeah, Ben is very scary and menacing as this character, and it's so much fun. Like, I actually don't think I've seen him as the scary, menacing type before. I've seen him as intimidating. I've seen him as a goofball. I've seen him as broken human being, but I don't think I've actually seen him as scary and menacing yet. So this is a fun little fun little change for me. It's
Like,
great.
fun fact I bring up in Fate Apocrypha. He's
Mhm.
Baby Gonzo in the new Muppet Babies.
Oh yeah,
What?
he is.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
He is the new voice of Baby Gonzo.
Good for him. Good for him.
Mind blown. Shit. Okay. Well, I mean, then again, this is the same man who was in Kids Next Door. He was
True.
part of our childhoods one way or another, so I shouldn't be surprised. But yeah, both these performances, I like them a lot. Ben has not ever disappointed me, and Greg Chun, I want to see him in more things. Give him more things to do, please and thank you. We ready to go to our next?
I did it.
Are we ready to talk about?
I did the thing,
What'd
though.
you do?
What did you do?
Operation Bungo Stray Dogs. Babbling, undercover, neurotic guy observes strange times revolving around Yakuza's doing overtly gang shit.
Megan, I love you.
Bravo!
I love you, Megan. Marry me.
Oh my god.
This could be a rating.
Holy shit. Megan,
Stop it!
Megan, I'm impressed. Well done.
Anyway, let's move on. Are we ready to talk about our other three major players of the Port Mafia?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
three-ish, I say. Because our next three characters we're going to discuss, we have Kyoka Izumi. She's this little girl. She's an orphan as well.
She's like 14, guys.
14. And she ends up being taken in by the Port Mafia and by Akutagawa specifically, to be used as an assassin. Her special ability is known as Demon Snow. It's the ability is to materialize Demon Snow. It's a sword-wielding phantom which only follows orders coming from the mobile phone. From a mobile phone that was given to her by her mother, and actually does not comply to Kyoka's own wishes. The other two members, the other big thing with Kyoka though is she's rescued essentially by Atsushi, and she ends up joining the Armed Detective Agency by the end of the first season. The other two members of the Port Mafia we're going to discuss real quickly. We have Ichiyo Higuchi. She is a member of the Port Mafia and is a subordinate of Akutagawa, who she actually kind of admires.
Admires in the sense that I think she has like romantic feelings for him.
Honestly, the whole show is
pretty
basically, man, I really respect my senpai. It's a cycle
Yeah.
of...
Really, she really respects him and is very loyal to him. Though Akutagawa likes to slap the shit out of her because she apparently
Smack my bitch up.
But she does not have any gifts or abilities. And the other person we're going to discuss is Chuya Nakahara. He is an executive member of the Port Mafia, and I'm gonna throw this out there now because it's related to Dazai at this point, and it's very pertinent to Chuya's character. So here's a big spoiler: Dazai, his former occupation was actually as an executive of the Port Mafia, and Chuya is actually his former partner.
I mean, that's like 3 episodes in. I think season 1 spoilers are game at this point.
I mean, that's fair, but I'm just saying for like the sake of discussing Chuya,
Fair.
It needs to be brought up.
Yeah.
It needs to be brought up now rather than saved for when we talk about Dazai. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes.
And Chuya's special ability is known as For the Tainted Sorrow. He does not use it in season 1, and again, for the sake of people who might be interested in seeing season 2, who may not have seen it yet, I'm not going to talk about what it is.
It's cool, though. It's cool.
It is.
It's really fucking cool.
It is, actually. Anyway, predictions for these characters. I think, what did I make? I made predictions for Kyoka and Chuya. I didn't have anything for Higuchi.
I did not have anything for Higuchi either, but I did also have predictions for Chuya and Kyoka. I had 2 for each.
Same.
I actually have 1 for each in both regions.
Cool.
I don't have anything because mine are
Right.
lost.
Okay.
You keep losing your shit, Megan. Like, you lost your Haikyuu predictions. Who wants to go first with predictions?
In regards to predictions, like since I said I had Callie predictions by this point, the 2 I had for Chuya, I had 2 in mind. My first prediction for Chuya was Grant George. I thought Grant George would have been a very interesting, appearance-wise, I see that kind of tone of voice working really well with Chuya. And the other one I had prediction as I thought it would have been a really good compliment to who I eventually found out would play Dazai, Chris Niosi.
Okay.
In regards to Kyoka Izumi, I had 2 in mind that I thought would have been really fitting for her particular childish voice. Could be cutesy and childish, but also kind of badass and ready to kill a bitch. Cassandra Lee Morris and Erica Mendez.
Alright, so unfortunately I don't have notes for why I picked these people, and I probably should start doing that. On the LA side for Kyoka, I had I'm sorry, Izumi. I think that's the name she's referred to in the show.
Kyoka Izumi, yeah.
Saran Williams. For Higuchi, it was Veronica Taylor. And for Chuya, it was Ray Chase, because you could put that guy anywhere in a show cast, and he'd pull it off and do great.
Okay.
Now on the Texas side, Izumi was Monica Rial, Higuchi was Anastasia Munoz, which is kind of funny for reasons that'll come up in a future episode, and Chuya was Austin Tyndall.
Well, something funny. Mine are all Dallas based, but and I had 2 for each of these. So the funny story is I also had Austin Tyndall as Chuya. But I also had, because I think, if I remember right, some of my predictions, because I'm looking at this again, some of my predictions I made for most of these characters, at least not too long after the show was done.
I think
Then
you
I
were
added-
making them like
That's right.
Anime
I remember
Boston.
when we did these.
something like that. And
Yeah,
we
you
did
could-
that. No, I
No.
remember exactly when we did these. Because we were sitting on the floor in the hall about to go into the Funimation panel that year.
maybe I think so.
Yeah, because I
Yes.
remember you guys
Yeah,
doing
because it
them
was
at
last
AB.
year.
Yeah, something like
And I
that.
remember I helped you bounce ideas off you, and I know I
Right.
gave the Christina V idea to Andrew.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
So retrospectively, I do have predictions. You're just doing them for me.
Sounds about right.
But then some of these I added periodically throughout the year as well. As I saw more and more performances and more possible opportunities. Which in this case of Chuya, aside from Austin Tyndall, I had Adam Gibbs as an option. As for Kyoka Izumi, initially I had Laura Woodhull as an option, but then I added Sarah Wiedenheft later on down the line. What we actually got for all three of these individuals. So Kyoka Izumi is voiced by Miss Jeremy Lee, who has been in series such as Soul Eater, the Digimon Adventure Tri films, and the new Viz Media dub of Sailor Moon. Ichio Higuchi is played by Carrie Kiernan, who's been in the original Berserk, Madoka Magica, and believe it or not, she was in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I find
Yeah.
this fucking
She
hilarious.
was in Yu-Gi-Oh!
I mean, she was New York based, and
She was the voice of Mokuba in season 5 of the show.
Fuck you.
I'm not kidding you.
Fuck you.
Carrie Keenan keeps getting kidnapped.
Fuck you.
No, I saw that earlier today.
Keep
I'm like,
going. I'm gonna look this up.
You look that up.
By the way,
Technically, it's under a different name for her when she did the role, but
Oh.
it's true.
Carrie, hide your boners, Kiernan.
And as for Chuya, this is like I was saying earlier, we have another relative newcomer, Nicholas Roy. The only other named role that he has had previously is actually in Digimon Fusion, but he has had actually the only other roles he's had background characters in anything Sailor Moon for the Viz Media dub and Naruto Shippuden.
he's
That's it.
probably more on Studiopolis' cartoon side. That's what I'm getting out of this.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Probably. That would make sense. Megan, do you want to go first? How do you feel about Jeremy, Carey, and Nicholas's performances?
It's good to see they let Sunako out of the suitcase.
Ah!
I know.
For all 5 of you who
I
get
don't
that
get
joke.
it.
You will.
You will.
You better get it by
You
June 30th.
Better fucking watch Shiki. Everybody better fucking watch Shiki.
Rock and
Got-
watch Shiki by
got
June
it.
30th. But no, I liked Kyoka. I really liked that she had a real sense of vulnerability to her. I think the scene that really, I was like, yep, I'm sold by Jeremy doing this, is when, she's on the train and she's got the bomb and she's like, my name is Kyoka Izumi. I've killed 35 people
Yeah.
and I don't want to die.
No,
I
I
don't
don't
wanna
want to
kill again.
Kill anybody. Honey, and
That's
Very
what she said.
important
and then
difference.
just after she, yeah, I don't want to kill again. And she's super cute, and the whole thing with her and the president, where she's like, please stare.
Yeah.
Please consider.
Like, she's so cute. She's so good, and I think she really gets like kind of the scared vulnerability down, especially for a little girl who can't control herself. Ichigo, who I am gonna actually cosplay, by the way, she's basically Mafia Satsuki from fucking Kill la Kill.
Yeah, that seems about right.
But I loved it, and I thought she was great, and I just really love Carrie Keenan as these characters. Fun fact, Carrie Keenan is also Elise.
Elise? Oh yeah.
Yes,
She's
she is,
also
actually.
the
She
voice
is
of Elise, and I actually if I didn't know it from looking it up.
Yeah, you would have never known if someone didn't
I would
tell
not
you.
have
Elise?
Yeah, she's the
Yes,
little girl
she's
with
the little
Mori,
girl.
the Port Mafia leader. She's the one in the red dress.
She's
Oh.
the PS Vita.
Oh, okay.
She's the PS Vita.
Okay.
Congrats, Carrie Keenan, on playing a sentient
God
PS
damn
Vita. That's the running gag. But no, for me, the really big standout is Nicholas Roy as Chuya. And the thing was that I was on vacation about 2 weeks ago to go watch Voltron with a couple of my friends, and somebody posted the clip in episode 8 where Chuya has been tricked into freeing Daizai. And Daizai kind of tricks and gets all of this information out of Chuya. And Chuya goes, and he goes to Daizai, it's like, yeah, well, I'll kill myself when I find a pretty girl. And Chuya goes, yeah, when I find one, I'll send her to you. And Daizai's like, oh, you're so thoughtful Chuya is like, that was sarcasm. Shut up. And like, that was, and somebody just titled the post, "This is better in English."
Yes.
And it's great! Because Chuya needs to do more shit because Nicholas Roy was perfect!
Yeah.
Like, he was the smarmy, underpaid motherfucker who has had to put up with this fucking idiot.
With this
Like,
fucking suicidal maniac.
Yeah. He's probably what Lilac would sound like if Lilac was a guy.
Yeah, if we were... It's funny, because earlier we were saying, like...
In every situation, I am the Daizai to Lilac's Chuya and or Dopo.
Yes! We were talking about Kunikita originally, but Chuya,
the thing that I also really like, too, is that, essentially, Chuya and Dopo are very similar people when it comes to dealing with Daizai, but on opposite ends of the fucking spectrum, where Dopo's just gonna fucking yell at him, and Chuya is also gonna yell at him, but he's also gonna be a smarmy jackass.
Yep.
And they're both, I can't believe I have not put this together until now, that they're basically the same person. Just fucking take it. I'm
Alright,
go.
excellent.
Right, Andrew.
Now I'm that
Okay,
gift.
so first off, I'm gonna start with Higuchi, because I really think Carrie Kiernan is a very talented actress, and I'm glad I could see a lot of her acting chops in this show, especially as Higuchi, who is basically... She is the Notice Me Senpai in a cycle of Notice Me Senpai. She is just the current one wanting to be noticed with nobody noticing her. She is the bottom of that, while she is noticing Akutagawa, and Akutagawa wants to be noticed, and yada yada yada. Cycle of Notice Me Senpais.
Cycle of senpais.
I think Carrie Kiernan does a really good job being this stern, like, badass of a woman in a suit. By the way, she looks really good in that suit, by the way. But yeah, no, she's really cool. I like when you should see, she really does genuinely care for Akutagawa, and she could leave the Port Mafia, but this is her job, and she feels attached to it. And I think...
She's a fucking badass,
she is
too.
a badass. That was a cool scene. That was really cool. Chuya was the one I really was not sure what to expect from Nicholas, but I was pretty surprised at how well he fit the part perfectly. He's snarky and cocky, but confident and badass enough to really go toe-to-toe with Chuya, and he sounds really cool. And the scene, because here's the whole thing. Dazai makes a prediction that he's going to leave sounding like a really stuck-up, like, rich girl.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Are you forgetting something?" And he just sighs. He's like, "Don't you forget about this." And he does that voice, and it's like, oh my god, you're perfect.
Yeah, he does the, "I'll get you."
It was so good.
It was so cute.
It was so good. But no, I want to talk about Kyoka, because Kyoka is a character I really enjoyed, and she really stuck out to me. But yeah, I think especially considering this is Jeremy, it's a much lower, more childish version of her voice that I'm more usually accustomed to. That being said, it's quiet and small enough that it fits the part well, but it's very sweet and sincere, vulnerable, but also strong enough that she will stand up for what she believes in and defend Atsushi from Akutagawa, and she is also, like, still this child who's been hurt and damaged, and I feel all of that in the sincerity and the range that Jeremy gives this character, and I bought her as Kyoka completely, and I think she does a great job.
Cool. Roots, how do you feel about these performances?
Alright, I really liked Higuchi and the, like everybody said, the Notice Me Senpai story arc she has. Like, she really gets some really good moments in, I think it was episode 11?
Yes.
Yes, the first half.
half.
Where she's defending Akutagawa. Like, I really like that. I did look up Nicholas Roy on, like, IMDb, and yeah,
Okay.
he does a lot of cartoon and video games. He was actually Soth in Fire Emblem Heroes. Yeah, he does a really good job, and I hope he's in more anime. And, I mean, Jeremy is basically playing her character from Shiki again, which I normally complain about that kind of thing, but it works so well for the character that, like, I really can't say anything bad about her performance.
I'm gonna start with Carrie. Carrie, I enjoyed it a lot. It's definitely because a lot of the performances from the women in this show, they have an interesting range to them, with the majority of them being more of a lower alto register. Carrie is one of them, but something I really enjoyed with Carrie is how she portrayed Higuchi's powerlessness. Because the first episode of episode 11, I think, is where she truly got to shine in this first season. Because you get to see why she decides to stay around. Because she's asked several times, like, why are you still here? Like, do you have what it takes to command our respect? You know what I mean? And it's a mini character arc for her as she goes through that, as well as showing her undying loyalty to Octagawa. It's really awesome. I love how she portrayed that. Kyoka, where did I put my notes about Cherami? Cherami is such a troubled little girl. You honestly feel really bad for her because she just wants to be a normal girl. She didn't ask for this ability. She didn't ask to have her and her ability used as an assassin. She didn't want none of that shit. But here she is, stuck with it. And Jeremy does really well portraying that. And I know we were joking about Suniko from Shiki a little bit earlier, but it sounds really rather similar to her performance in Shiki, since we did actually recently talk about that show. But I enjoyed that as well. But where is, because the person I really want to talk about. Didn't I write any notes on him? Aha! Nicholas Roy. It's probably the most underrated performance of the show. Because I got a nice little kick out of it, even though he was prominent essentially in one episode. And he is another character I want to see the reason why I want to see season 2 like now. In that short amount of time that we do have him on screen as Chuya, I'm just captivated by it. It's very different than what I expected. And what's interesting with him and with Jeremy in particular, because I wrote down, one of my big notes is that with the show in general, there's some very interesting interactions and counterbalances that these characters have. In the case of Cherami, she has a very interesting relationship and counterbalance to Atsushi, who we'll talk about later on. And then, obviously, in Nicholas's case as Chuya, his dynamic with Dazai is very, very interesting to me. Because we were talking about earlier, Chuya is like, I'm not paid enough for this bullshit to deal with this suicidal maniac, this crazy motherfucker. I don't get it. But their partnership actually, it's interesting because we actually see a little bit more of their story and their partnership in season 2 a bit more, and they actually do make a pretty badass team. Like, when you see it, it's actually really interesting. But their interaction when Dazai is quote-unquote captured and is locked up, their interaction in that episode was a lot of fun to see, and the two of them play off of each other. So Nicholas Roy is definitely probably one of, if not the most underrated performance of this entire show, and I really want to see more of it. Please, again, give me season 2 like now.
Please give us more Nicholas Roy and Chuya, please.
Please, Kay, thanks, bye. All right. Are we done talking about the Port Mafia for the time being? Because we're gonna save Octagawa for later on.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm done. I'm good.
We're now ready to talk
Let's go
about
back to the guild.
Detective Agency.
Oh.
Is everyone?
Yes.
Oh my god. Yes. Yes. Let's do it.
So here we go. There's too many members of it, but we're gonna split 6 of them up into groups of 3. The first thing we're gonna discuss, we have the Tanizaki siblings. We have Junichiro Tanizaki and Naomi Tanizaki. Junichiro is the older brother. He works there part-time, and he's about the same age as Atsushi. He has an ability called Light Snow, which allows him to project illusions within a certain area.
TLDR, he makes the Matrix.
I was going to say, or as Megan likes to call it. His sister Naomi, on the other hand, she is a part-time office clerk, and she actually is not gifted in any way, shape, or form.
She's gifted in
However,
a couple of
ladies.
Ladies,
if incest is what you like best, put your brother to the test.
and then
I feel bad I haven't TLDR'd any of the other powers.
it's alright. And then the third person we're going to talk about with this group is Kenji Miyazawa, who is this little innocent little kid who is
It's fucking hick child.
He's from the country, very optimistic, very carefree. His ability is called Undefeated by the Rain, which grants him superhuman strength only when he's hungry.
TLDR, TLDR, the cows have been very naughty.
Oh my god.
Anyways, predictions for these characters. I actually only have predictions for Junichiro and Kenji. I actually didn't make anything for Naomi. Anyone else? What do we got?
Okay.
Yeah, I got him.
I had a prediction for Kenji. I had a prediction for Naomi and Tanizaki. Yeah, I had predictions for all three. Okay.
Alright, who wants to go first?
First things first, for the Tanizaki siblings. For Tanizaki, I predicted Kyle McCarley and Lucian Dodge would be very good for him because they're much more like meeker, softer voices, and I thought they would have been more fitting. In regards to Naomi, I predicted 2 out of the 3 trifecta of Erica's. I thought either Erica Harlacher or Erica Lindbeck would have been very fitting performances in regards to Naomi's like chaotic but also strangely sensual tone. And in regards to Kenji Miyazawa, I'm not sure why I picked him, but I thought Griffin Burns would have been a fun choice.
Okay. Roots?
It would have been hilarious if one of you would have said Veronica Taylor.
Alright, so for Dallas, I had Greg Ayers as Kenji. And as the Tanizaki siblings, I had Justin Briner and Felicia Angio. On the LA side, I had Erica Mendez as Kenji and... Oh, holy fuck, I am so messed up.
What'd you do?
Bryce Papenbrook and Jeremy Lee.
As who?
Oh my god,
Wow! I am so fucked up!
Dude, now I owe you one.
Hang
That's
on,
fucking
Bruce.
hilarious.
What did you say? You said...
As the Tanizaki siblings, he had Bryce Papenbrook and Jeremy
No,
Lee.
I heard that. You said, I'm so fucked up, right?
Yes!
Hold on to that. Anyways.
Oh, God!
This is why I love you.
I'm just like Sideshow Bob right now, stepping on the rakes.
Oh god.
Are we done with predictions?
No.
Okay.
There's me.
Okay, Steph, let's hear him.
Oh lord. Again, I was Dallas based, and I only went with Junichiro and Kenji. I went with the guys. So I had 3 for Kenji. I had Josh Greeley, Justin Briner, Maxie Whitehead, because they would be fun little innocent little cinnamon rolls who were goofy. As for Tanizaki, the brother Tanizaki, I went in the direction of more of a baritone type of voice. Baritone, maybe close to tenor kind of voice. First choice went to Clifford Chapin. Second choice went to Alejandro Saab. And what we have instead is, of course, me being wrong, of course, because I went Dallas, and this is not Dallas. So... as the voice of Kenji Miyazawa, we have a Mr. Lucian Dodge, one of our scriptwriters coming in here, who's been in series such as Fate Zero, Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, and I discovered that he was actually a minor character in Joker game.
Neat.
As for Naomi Tanizaki, Andrew, you got this correct. It's Erica Lindbeck. She has been in series such as Coppelion, Love Live, and Hunter x Hunter. And as for her brother Junichiro Tanizaki...
Get in the goddamn agency, Shinji!
So we have Spike Spencer as Junichiro, who's been in series such as Black Butler, Book of Circus, God Eater, and of course, most infamously in Neon Genesis Evangelion as Shinji Ikari.
Hey, Roots, remember when you said I'm so fucked up?
Yes, Andrew, yes.
Okay, just want to make sure you got
Sideshow Bob rakes all around me.
that. All right.
Megan, can you give me your thoughts on Spike, Erica, and Lucian's performances?
I guess I'll do Lucian first, because I actually didn't expect Lucian Dodge to be really good as Kenji. The last time he was a teenager was in Little Witch Academia, and I honestly didn't remember really liking it very much. But I liked him as Kenji a ton. He was adorable. I think that he is, he just nails the character. And it's funny, I brought it up with the Black Lizard group, but the part in, I think it's episode 4 or 5.
It's
Is it
4.
3 or 4? I think it's
4.
3, actually. That's 4. Where he goes, Mr. Kanekita, what do you want me to do with all these guys?
Yeah.
Just throw them out the window. 1, 2, woo! I'm just assuming that the direction was, Lucian, just make noises. But,
You're not wrong.
he was so adorably, naive and stuff, and I think one of the other lines that really got me, and it almost, had me, if I had something in my mouth, I would have spit it out, is in episode 11, later on, he goes, man, I'm so hungry, I really want a beef bowl. But don't you raise cows? Yep, but I love every part of the cow. How they look, how they act, how they taste.
That was great.
I legitimately laughed super hard at that. Because there was just the way he delivered it was just so innocent and naive, and yet so full of conviction that he loves cows so much he would eat them. That he loves eating them. It stands that this is a line between Doppo and Atashi at the end of the episode, which is, you didn't know about Kenji's power? He can use his power, but only when he's hungry. What does he do when he eats? He sleeps.
God bless.
That was great.
The show is really funny.
It was great.
But the Tanizaki siblings, this is the double cast that I was actually kind of alluding to. Is that Erica Limbeck is double cast, and one of the characters that she is this character. And she sounds great. I will let Andrew ruin something for you all
right,
next.
thank you for letting me have that.
Because I know I'm not taking that one from you. But she was actually super great as Naomi. I don't get to hear Erica Lindbeck play kind of cutesy innocent girls. The only time she kind of reminded me a little bit actually of Calorie
In Your Lie in April, yeah.
from Your Lie in April, which is the only other character that was like this. Because usually when Erica Lindbeck, a little bit of Ellie, she's not as mature as Ellie is. But the last teenager I watched Erica Lindbeck play is Anger Ellie, aka Mordred. And then I actually kind of like Spike Spencer as Tanizaki. He's probably the character I'm most neutral on the performance. I could take it or leave it. He does a really good job. I think he does a really good job when he has to scream.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he's kind of got to scream. Especially when he talks about having to go to Dr. Yoshino's office. And he's just if you get injured, he's just like, ah! Poor Tanizaki needs a hug.
Stay tuned,
But,
sports fans.
Anyway, I think he did really well. I'm gonna let Andrew now ruin a video game for everybody.
Oh, no.
Okay, so
Get it out of the way, rip off the bandage.
okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
Let's first start off with Naomi. And for Naomi, I have Futaba. Jesus fucking Christ. Do not fuck your fake brother. Okay.
I'm sorry, I could never ship Futaba Joker because it's like his
Let
fucking
me explain
sister.
to all of you.
That's gone over my head.
Let me explain to Stephanie, who does not play video games.
Explain. I do not know these video games.
Erica
What are these video
Lindback-
games?
We're just gonna buy you a fucking PS4
let
at
me
this point.
explain it. Futaba Sakura is a character from Persona 5 played by Erica Lindbeck. and literally the exact like tone, cadence of cutesy little sister voice is used in Naomi's voice, and it's extra hysterical because she's using her Futaba voice, and it's just Futaba but extra horny for her brother, and it's really funny because in the game she has a like big brother little sister relationship with Joker, but you can also romance her, and it's basically just making me think the Tanezawa siblings are essentially just an R18 plus doujin of Joker x Futaba to me. And that's something that's really funny. That being said,
Joker's not voiced by Spike Spencer,
he's not voiced.
No, it's Xander Mobus.
Okay, that would make things even more weird and hilarious.
Yes, but regardless, she sounds like hornier Futaba. And that's why it's funny to me. That being said, she does a really good job being horny Futaba, and she's really super cute and sincere, but also kind of like a badass, like willing to step into like gunfire, and also kind of like standing up for Kyoka to join the organization. That's really cool. Spike Spencer as Junichiro, that's his name, Junichiro.
Yes.
Okay. Let's get another terrible joke out of the way.
Oh no.
Shinji doesn't want to get inside of his sister.
Boo! Boo!
Get off the stage!
Ava Stray Dogs, you will not fuck your sister.
I'm just gonna sit here.
Get off the stage!
Evangelion 4.44.
Okay.
The new Evangelion movie has taken a weird
honestly,
turn.
at this point, it could take any turn. That being said, Spike Spencer does a really distinct voice as Junichiro, and I think he does a really good job being like sincere, genuine, but also doing a really good job at making those screams and like action sequences work really well. And like, I haven't heard Spike Spencer do this voice in a while, but he has been in other things. I really like him as the otaku kid in Durarara. It's a very different voice than that, but I think he does a good job as Junichiro, and I liked it. Lucian Dodge is great. Okay, what did I actually write down for him? Lucian Dodge is real good at precious cinnamon rolls who are secret badasses. Kenji is...
Like your robot son?
Kenji is just that. Yes, like my robot son, Kibo. Kenji's adorable and hilarious and kind of awesome and dopey, but I really enjoyed Lucian Dodge playing this character. I'm done. This segment was mainly just me making those jokes, but I really enjoyed Erica Lindbeck, Spike Spencer, and Lucian Dodge all in these roles, and they did a great job.
Roots.
Okay, forgive me, Bryce Pappenbrook, Jeremy Lee. I am like 85% sure I made those predictions without that in mind.
I don't believe you.
Oh, God.
I don't even believe me. I'm not sure anymore. Anyway.
I mean, it's funny for more than just the Sword Art Online reason, actually.
Tanizaki siblings. I actually really like Spike Spencer. Namely because Junichiro has to scream a lot. And Spike Spencer does a very good job with that.
God damn it. Get in the agency, Shinji.
But at least he didn't clip his mic this time. Like in the first episode of Evangelion. Erica Lindbeck as Naomi. I like that too. What was that line you guys kept passing back and forth in the chat?
Oh, I think it's at one point where they're walking in episode 3. She's like, oh, come on, if you're gonna do it, put more tongue into it.
That's right. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I really like that dynamic between the two, and Lucian Dodge's Kenji. It's just so funny. Like, there wasn't a moment Kenji was on screen saying something that I wasn't kind of chuckling to myself. I hope that doesn't turn around and bite me later, but...
I can't believe Lucian Dodge wrote Night of the Galactic Railroad. That's a good achievement.
No, Lucian Dodge did not actually write Night of the Galactic Railroad, and that movie,
Yes,
by the way, is really trippy.
Anyway, Steph, go on ahead.
Alright. I'm gonna start with Lucian Dodge, actually. Lucian is such a good boy. Such an adorable, kind, and naive good boy. him as Kenji is adorable as shit, and I also am reminded again that I need to finish watching, because a while ago I was watching a playthrough of Danganronpa V3. I haven't finished it. I need to, because Kibo's also a good boy. But yeah, Lucian's very, very adorable as Kenji, and I want to see. This is one of those moments where it's like I don't get to hear Lucian dodge enough, mostly because I don't generally
watch Netflix dubs.
No, don't generally get to watch Callie dubs.
I know Jet's been going on the crusade to basically get him a lead role in a dub, and I agree with him on that.
And I agree with that as well, actually. Like, Lucian Dodge needs to have a lead role at some point. Erica Lindbergh as Naomi.
For Naomi, actions speak louder than words.
Yes.
I have a very heavy cat in my hands right now, guys.
But she,
say hi, Shinya.
Erica as Naomi is very adorable and perky and very energetic and loves her brother a little too much, but
we're from Alabama.
God damn it. But I liked it a lot. Here's the fun one for me. And his name is Spike Spencer. I'm gonna preface this by saying I think this is actually really the first time I've ever seen Spike Spencer in a series before.
What?
Okay.
I have never seen Evangelion, and I refuse to touch that show with a 10-foot pole. And I actually haven't really seen any of the shows he's done. I haven't even seen the Double Black Butler Book of Circus, which probably would help remedy some of this situation.
Who the hell is he in Book of Circus again?
Snake?
That's right, he is Snake. I forgot that.
Yeah, I had to preface with all of that. I don't know. Because when I watched it up for the first time last week, I was in the camp of I'm not a fan of it. I expected Tanizaki to have a slightly lower registered voice, similar to the Seiyu, and my predictions were also based off of that. And then there's Junichido's character design, which it's one of those things where my brain is like, vocal tone did not equate character design to me, so it was also weird. And by the end of the first time watching the dub, I was like, I still don't know what to think of this performance. I still don't know. Going into the second time today, I'm gonna have to read some of my notes I wrote down. So, where am I? So the first note I wrote is Spike is, I don't know, episode 2 as the bomber is really rough to me.
I feel like the reason why he's rough in the first episode is it was kind of intentional. Because it's him not acting like himself.
That's true.
Yeah, he's basically an actor acting.
Even then, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. But, I mean, I will actually admit, because I think I wrote this later on, I think once I got more towards the latter half of the show, he did grow into the character of Tanizaki as the series goes on. I will admit that. But, compared to some of the other performances in the show, it's not the strongest performance to me.
That's fair.
To be honest. Like, I still have my brain's still fighting back and forth as to whether or not I actually enjoy his role or his performance of Tanizaki, but I will admit that he grew into the character by the end of the first season, which I'm like, okay. So it improved a bit, and like going into it on the second watch, I'm like, okay, I can see this and this.
But it took you a while to get used to, and it was kind of rough at first.
It took a long ass time for me to get used to it. I did get that he grew into the character as the series went on, but compared to some of the other performances, this is one of those odd casting choices for me, and it's one of the oddest and unfortunately among one of the weaker performances in my opinion.
Okay.
Our next 3 members of the Armed Detective Agency, one of which I actually watched to cosplay. Woohoo! Which is weird for me to say that, because I've never cosplayed anything in my damn life. So we have Doboku Nikita. He is Dazai's partner for the Armed Detective Agency. He kind of gets mad when Dazai goes suicidal and shit.
He is what Lilac is to me.
Yes, in a sense. He likes to write plans and his ideals in this notebook, and he hates wasting time. His ability is actually called Dopo Poet, which allows him to bring into existence any object he writes in his notebook, so long as the object itself isn't bigger than the notebook itself.
TLDR?
TLDR, read a book, read a motherfucking book.
Shit. Then we have Akiko Yoshino, Dr. Akiko Yoshino, I should say. She is the Armed Detective Agency's physician, and she's a little bit nutty because her ability called Thou Shalt Not Kill, it allows her to
Thou
heal
shalt not
others.
die.
Thou shalt not die, excuse me. It allows her to heal others and even herself, but it only works so long as the person is half dead to begin with. So 9 times out of 10 for her to use her ability, she has to make her patient or herself basically be on the brink of death.
TLDR, to heal you, I need you to take the Taco Bell challenge.
Good God.
And then our third individual that we're going to be talking about is, and you probably heard this name brought up previously, Rampo Edogawa.
Who?
Shut the fuck up. He's the self-proclaimed only detective in the agency. And he's like the best comparison I can make to him is Sherlock Holmes.
It's like Sherlock Holmes meets like a like one of those young adult detectives.
A child.
Young adult detective, basically, is what he is.
Child. Because while Rambo is very good at detection, he is very childlike, and he doesn't exactly understand how real world works the first time we really get to spend with him, or Atsushi does. The only reason Atsushi goes with him on his case is because he doesn't understand how fucking trains work.
Choo choo! I guess he needs to read Night on the Galactic Railroad.
I guess. But
TLDR, oh, sorry.
I didn't get to it. His skill is called super deduction.
Ultra
which
deduction.
Well, I'm reading Wikipedia right now. Ultra deduction, super deduction, same thing. Where he's able to essentially solve tough cases really instantly with minuscule evidence and find the killer. However, he's actually not a gifted supernatural person. He's just a normal.
He's just some asshole.
He's just an asshole.
Just some asshole that he picked up off the fucking street.
He's just a normal person who he has like more of a natural gift for deduction. It's not supernatural based, but he likes to think.
TLDR, I rolled a natural 20 to deduce what the fuck is happening.
Oh lord. Anyway, predictions for these characters. I know I have predictions.
I have predictions as well. Okay.
Yep.
For Rampo Edogawa, I had 2 in mind as what I think would have been really fitting for this character. I had Todd Habercorn and Johnny Young Bosch down for Rampo Edogawa. In regards to Akiko Yoshino, I had 2 lovely ladies who I've seen as some favorite characters of mine, who I've seen do similar types of characters as Yoshino. I thought Carrie Kiranen or Jeremy Lee would have been really good picks as Yoshino. And in regards to Kunikita, I had but one. Keiji Tang. I had Keiji Tang because at some point before this, I had gotten the hint that maybe he could have been somewhere in this dub, and I thought, you know what, he would be a good place
I think it's because he'd actually noted he really liked the show and he was watching it.
That too, and I was like, you know what would be a good place to put Keiji Tang in the show? And I thought he would have really fit. He sounds a little, he sounds gruff, but not like gruff enough that I thought it would have been too jarring, I guess, for the younger looking Kunikita character.
Okay, Roots.
Alright, so for Akiko, on the Dallas side, I had Morgan Berry. On the LA side, I had Michelle Ruff. For Rampo Edogawa, on the Dallas side, I had Johnny Young Bosch. And on the LA side, I had Chris Niozzi. And for Dopo, on the LA side, I had Johnny Young Bosch. And you're gonna get a real good chuckle out of who I had for the LA side. Or, I'm sorry, the Dallas side.
Okay.
Clifford Chapin.
Yeah.
Like,
Ooh.
originally...
I can see it! It'd be kind of interesting.
Like, originally I had done these based around the character designs, and then I actually started to watch the show in Japanese.
Because I dragged him into doing it.
Because Megan dragged me into doing it, and when he was, when Dopo was beating Daizai around the first episode, I'm just like, okay, that's Deku and Bakugo right there.
Ah!
Kind of.
Ah.
So,
I can see it. So what I have for Akiko, I had two. I put Anastasia Munoz and Mallory Rodak. Both of these wonderful ladies have voiced more not stern, more stoic characters that are slightly crazy. And Mallory Rodak was actually kind of hilarious because she was in Game of the Place. For Rampo Edogawa, one of these is gonna be hilarious to Megan. So my first choice was actually Austin Tyndall as the eccentric, arrogant little shit. But here's the funny one. So my second choice was actually Jason Lebrecht.
This makes me happy.
I could have seen that.
Cause Say You Trash is a thing that exists, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, because it's Hiroshi Kamiya.
Exactly. As for Dopo, I had three. Two of my choices I had more towards the start when I was originally making this list. Those being Ian Sinclair and David Wall, because I thought they would be fun. They would be fun with the goofy yet stern character that is Dopo. But the third person I picked and who ended up being my first choice in all of this, I added later on. Because at that time, one, I wanted to see this man in more things. And two, I wanted to see more of his range. I had Christopher Waycamp as my first choice for Kunikita.
I may or may not have influenced that.
You may or may not have.
Totally
but what
did.
we actually have for these three characters. As Dopo Kunikita, we have Patrick Seitz, who has been in series such as Dime a Dollar, Hetalia, and Monster. As Rampo Edogawa, we have a Mr. Vic Mignogna, who has been in series such as Ouran High School Host Club, Fullmetal Alchemist, and various characters of the Garo franchise. And then we have Akiko Yoshino, who is voiced by, and yes, you're hearing this correctly, she is voiced by Erica Lindbeck.
That's
Who has also been in series like Anohana, Fate Apocrypha, and Your Lion April.
she's also been in a little show called Bungo Stray Dogs. I think we might have talked.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, never heard of it.
I think it's safe to say we're gonna have an interesting discussion with two of these characters. Megan, could you kick us off, please?
Oh boy, howdy, I am fucking here to rumble.
Let's go.
Let's start with the good. Akiko Yoshino was fucking perfect. I love Erica Lindbeck. Erica Lindbeck is the queen of weebs. She is a super weeaboo. She's the weeb of the weebs. I like that she really played this character a lot older than I think I've ever heard her play. Which is great because Akiko isn't a fucking teenager. She is a doctor and a very proud of herself strong woman. And I think to me, the first time you hear her is when, the first time you really get to hear her is when, she's treating poor Tanizaki and she sounds like she's fucking him.
It's also extra hilarious that she also
Yes.
voices his sister.
Yep. Fincest is what you like best. Put your brother to the test. And then, obviously, Patrick Seitz as Dopo was also fucking perfect casting. I would say it's very typical, because Patrick Seitz is the big dude a lot. His comedic timing is great. I will say the thing that really got me is in the second episode is when he does a little old lady voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
About people who complain about Daizai. When he gets fooled by Daizai, he's great. His performance in what is essentially Dopo's biggest arc, the Azir King arc, is phenomenal. And I also find it really funny, by the way, that Dopo used to also be a teacher, like Patrick Seitz.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick Seitz used to be an English teacher, which explains a lot. And now let's get to the part that I don't fucking like. Shocker, I don't like Vic Mignogna in this.
Could you care to explain to people why and/or your history?
Okay. I like, for everyone, because everyone's like, oh great, here comes Megan hating on fucking Vic Mignogna again. I don't hate him. Like, here's the thing. It's the choices that he and the directing team make, because I feel like he is also a director, so he probably knows what directors are also thinking about. He plays this like if Tamaki never grew up from Oron. And I know I share a lot of these sentiments with Roots. There is one part in the show I think Vic actually was super funny in, and that is when he gives Kyoka Fun Dip.
I like that part a lot too, actually.
That part was actually really funny. That part was adorable and funny, and I wish that they would have kept Rampo like that. Because when I listen to Hiroshi Kamiya play him, Hiroshi Kamiya doesn't sound as... He sounds like a different person. And I've always said this, I don't have a problem when Vic plays characters. I like him a ton in Garo, and I like him a ton in Token Rambu, which is a comedy series, because he takes his Bishonen voice, because if you've never seen Token Rambu, he plays a Bishonen grandpa sword.
It's funny because I finally started Token Rambu.
So you understand what I mean about me?
I do.
Mizukage is that he has the sensibilities of a grandpa and the sensibility and the way he talks like a grandpa, but with the sexy Bishonen voice. Mm-hmm. So it's not that I think he's a bad actor, I think he just makes bad choices. And to me, Rampo is a bad choice that he made because he essentially plays him like an annoying, whiny child. And I get that Dopo is kind of an annoying, whiny man-child.
Rampo
is an annoying, whiny man-child. They have very similar names. Is an annoying, whiny man-child, but he never makes him super endearing like I think the show is trying to be. It's like, by the way, guys, we all know that Rampo's an asshole who is just kind of like, I'm so smart, but deep down, he's a good person who cares about others. And it's shown when he's playing with Kyoka. Okay, I guess to finish it up, I don't think it's an awful, terrible performance. To me, it's the weakest one in the show.
That
because it's good intentions with bad execution.
Okay, first things first, let's start off with Yosuno. Yosuno, holy shit, she's scary and sexy as hell.
Does she hit all your strikes off, Andrew?
You know what? Yes. Fuck you. Fuck you.
I like how king shaming has become our favorite hobby.
Okay. Straight up, I really do like Erica Lindbeck doing this role as well. Like, I know we mentioned about, like, the pros and cons of double casting. I can excuse it on different things, is, like, if they sound distinctly different enough. Erica Lindbeck absolutely sounds distinctly different from Naomi as she does from Yosuno, and this shows because she's a lot more confident, strong-willed, like neurotic mad scientist, but also really strong-willed, kind of a badass, ready to kick your ass. I like that line where she says, oh, like where basically Atsushi runs into a guy, trips over the stuff, she goes to apologize, and he gets really mad and starts criticizing, like, what her job occupation was, maybe like, oh, maybe you're like a hooker or something, and she's like, oh, I noticed you have 2 arms, that's one too many, might I remove one for you? And it's like, god damn.
Also, you have a nice leg.
You have a nice leg. It's like, I get why she's doing that, but she's just like, hey, that's a nice leg.
She's just feeling up his leg on the train, and after she's like, what is that one meme? I don't know what I'm doing, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask.
I mean, he already...
Which is his character.
I mean, he already has a tail, but that's just an extra tail going up there. Anyways,
Boo!
Yeah, because his belt is just literally his tail, because he's a tiger. Did you know that? Edogawa. I don't think I had anything on Rampo Edogawa outside of Vic Mignogna does a pretty okay job with him. I think he does put enough emphasis and comedic timing into some of the sequences with the character, and I think it works. But I guess maybe in English it does sound a lot more like bratty than it does supposed to be endearing. Though then again, the character is kind of like know-it-all, bratty, I'm better than everybody, but he's also kind of like a weird chuny, which is interesting. The one I was the most surprised about was Patrick Seitz, because Patrick Seitz is a very deep-voiced man. And I did not associate that deep a voice with Kunikita. That being said, this really shows his stuff as an actor because he's got a lot of different sides to Kunikita. Like, the chemistry with him and working off of Dazai is comedy gold. Like, you see the comedic timing, exaggeration, facial recognitions, the tone of voice is great. But he's also very stern and serious, but you also see how much he truly cares and how much he feels guilty about the end of the Azure King arc, and how that comes to haunt him, like when he goes to save Atsushi and he's like, I don't want you to feel like I did and fail. And it just, he's one of the more developed characters. He's got a really cool power, and he's got so many emotional tangents that Patrick Seitz works flawlessly. Like, the comedic side, the emotional, dramatic side, the badass side, it's all there. He's playing a lot, and I think the fact that he makes it also work with this character, even though I'm much used to him being gruffer, tougher men, and him being much more like slender and younger in the show, really says a lot.
Roots, how do you feel?
All right, so I too will start with Akiko. I really like the performance. It didn't quite grow on me at first when she's first introduced. It took until her designated episode for me to appreciate it. Because you get to see, like, you get to see the sides of the character, and that fight, my god. Especially at the end where I forgot the name of the lemon bomb
Lemon
dude.
Bomber.
Yeah.
Yeah,
where she's basically berating him for being a bad scientist. I really like that.
Also, shout out to Brian Pomero.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
Shout out to that guy for being like a one scene wonder, because holy shit,
Yeah.
his evil laugh is very good.
It's
I
fun.
really like Patrick Seitz's Dopo. Like, I actually legit feel bad for not thinking of him when I, did my predictions. Because he just slides into that role like it was nothing. And he gets the angry side very well. He gets the kind of supervisor role very well, and the sort of the father figure to certain characters. Actually, you know what? I probably shouldn't say father, more like older brother. So now we get to Vic Mignogna as Rompo. I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't like it for many of the same reasons Megan mentioned, but I do want to kind of add a little thing. It's something I mentioned in the Oron episode.
Okay.
His Tamaki voice is basically his bread and butter. I get that, but it kind of annoys me when he uses it nowadays, because he is capable of so many different things that are far more impressive. He was Beelzebub in Rage of Bahamut Genesis.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
He's Broly. He's like a vocal chameleon. So I get kind of disappointed when he enters into a comfort zone. I actually had him in my predictions for a season 2 character, Lovecraft.
Ooh, that would have been fun.
Because that would have allowed him to display more of his range. Like, I don't want to say I don't like Vic Mignogna as an actor. It's just that if he gets into a voice he's comfortable with, he kind of takes over.
I'm gonna start with the easy one, that being Patrick Seitz, because he is fucking amazing. If I had to describe Patrick Seitz as Kunikita, it's like Germany from Hitalia meets Grimmer from Monster.
Fuck. I did not think Italia was
Honestly.
coming into this.
Well, think about it, because Germany goes on little angry rampages and yells at
Have your
everyone.
5 cats for 5 dark marks at Arby's.
But you see where I'm getting at there. But,
Yes, and I did not want it to go there.
No, but Patrick is just hilarious and amazing as Kunikita. And the person whose rage you get to see the most is Patrick Seitz in the span of a minute. with that one scene in the second episode where he's doing these impersonations of all these complaints that the agency had gotten from various people about Dazai. And it was the funniest shit, and I'm like, dude, this is amazing. But he's also Kunikita is a very noble character, because he has his philosophies that are also to an extent pretty one-sided. He has his ideals that he wants to strictly follow, and this is probably where, because another really good dynamic duo performances is Patrick and Dazai, because where Kunikita has his ideals and his morals and his philosophies, Dazai comes in where this is the actual note I had. The interactions and conflicting ideas between Dazai and Kunikita are really interesting. Kunikita has a strong sense of justice and morals. Meanwhile, Dazai has seen the darker side since he has a darker past. So his morals and his sense of justice is a bit more gray compared to Kunikita's, which is a bit more black and white. And I can relate to Kunikita in that sense because I am actually a very black and white person. It's sometimes very difficult for me to see the gray and stuff, and my parents will tell you that as well. It's very interesting to see Patrick portray all of those facets of Kunikita, and I love it to pieces. As for... I'm gonna go with Vic Mignogna's Rompo next because I actually kind of liked it. It's not my favorite, obviously, but I actually do like it because I understand what was going on with the character and the performance here. I actually wrote two notes, one right off the other, while I was watching episode 5. Vic is absolutely an odd choice to play Rompo, like straight up, right off the bat. But he does get the cocky and arrogant attitude for the character really easily, and I can see that personality come out of his portrayal of Rompo. But the other big thing, too, is he's also a spoiled little child. Because... it makes a lot of sense given Rompo's nature, because Rompo is respected in the agency because he doesn't have a supernatural gift. Rompo doesn't see it that way because he perfectly is under the impression that he has a gift. That his ultra deduction is a gift when it's not. And he just I'm guessing he probably doesn't know and doesn't want to believe it. So he is respected in the agency because he does not have a gift, but he's actually naturally gifted. And he's seen as a spoiled little naive child sometimes, very childlike. And he's also arrogant in what he says and does. And all of those facets, I actually really enjoyed Vic portraying them. Do I think that he was the best choice as Rompo for the show? No. There's probably other capable actors who could do as good or if not a better performance. But given what we have here, I'm perfectly fine with Vic as Rompo. He understands the character and he's able to portray all those facets rather well. As for Erica is Yoshino, Dr. Yoshino. Sweet baby Jesus, is this a wonderful performance or what? Like she's intelligent and slightly crazy with some amount of seduction to her voice and her performance, and it's brilliant. And I love it a lot. But my main problem with Erica Lindbeck in general is the fact that they double casted her as Dr. Yasuno and Naomi. I don't think it was necessary at all. I understand that the performances were distinct, and I appreciate that she did make him distinct. However, if you are familiar with Erica Lindbeck's voice and her range, you would be able to pick up on the fact that she is these two characters really quickly. So
honestly, nah. If I didn't know, it would have taken me at least like a little while.
That's why I'm saying if you're familiar with her voice and her range, then you would be able to pick it up easily. But if you're not, then you would be tricked by it. My big thing is, cause like I was saying earlier, if it's double casting with background characters that we're never going to see it again, that's one story. If it's double casting with two named characters that play significant roles in the show, I don't see the reason or the point behind it. The fact, I feel like you could have taken the time to have someone fill in the other role. This isn't a knock against Erica Lindbeck's performances, because her performances in both these roles are spectacular, and I appreciate her being a trooper and doing it. This is more of my critique of Studiopolis at this point. It was, to me, it's unnecessary. They could have had two different actresses portraying these two characters.
And as I was saying earlier, what's the possibility that it is a matter of like funding these projects and or actors being more expensive? It's a factor that I think is to be considered possibly as well.
Well, there's an interesting point to be brought about that, but that's actually gonna come at a later date. So.
Okay. I just wanted to at least bring that element to be the devil's advocate.
No, I understand that. I understand that entirely. Obviously there has to be some factors involved that we don't know about. Obviously there is a reason why Erica is both Dr. Yoshino and Naomi. There's a reason for it. But personally, I think it's just unnecessary that she has to play both these characters, despite both these roles being distinct and being good performances. I don't think there's any reason, personally, that this should have been done. But clearly, there was a reason for it, and I'm going to take a guess and assume that it might be just some kind of restriction that's on the studio's end. And it might not be the fact that they didn't have the talent pool. It has to be something on the production end that caused this to happen, and I think this is probably just me being ignorant, I would think, at this point, but I think it's unnecessary, honestly. But despite that, I will say that Erica Lindbeck was phenomenal in both her roles as Yoshino and Naomi. She did make them distinct. It's just, unfortunately, double casting in this scale is unnecessary to me, and if you are very familiar with her range, you can pick up on both her performances very easily. That's just my opinion on all of that. Are we good to move on? Because we got 3 characters left.
Are we going to talk about my boyfriend?
Yes.
You going to talk about one of my boyfriends?
Let's talk about one of your boyfriends. His name is Ryunosuke Akutagawa, who is a member of the Port Mafia. And he's essentially seen as the main antagonist in the first season of the show. So he's a member of the Port Mafia. He was taken in by them after basically slumming it on the streets for God knows how long. And he used to actually be Dazai's apprentice when Dazai was an executive for the Port Mafia. However, of course, Dazai thinks he's a quote-unquote a worthless piece of trash. I only say that because I feel like Dazai was only pretending just to rile him up, honestly. Akutagawa's ability is called Rashomon. It's a coat that turns into a black beast, which can tear everything apart, even space.
I don't think it's his coat. I think it's just a shadow.
Predictions for Akutagawa.
Wait. We didn't hear Megan's TLDR.
Oh,
TLDR. I'm gonna fuck you up, you fucking bitch. Chom nom nom shadow time.
Thank you very much.
Also, if you can't guess why Akutagawa is my favorite character, go look who plays him in the Japanese.
I'm guessing a certain Kensho, Ono, if you will.
Yes!
Yes! It's Kenshin Ono.
Okay.
Predictions for Akutagawa.
I had 2 originally, and I had a third one solely off of a single line of dialogue in the trailer.
Okay.
I had thought Zach Aguilar and Xander Mobus would have been really interesting choices for casting Akutagawa as part of a edgy rival, as I think both have done a pretty good job doing deeper, darker, or more conniving voices, but have done much more heroic roles. I thought it would have been interesting to see their spin on Akutagawa. And this third one comes solely off of, I tried analyzing a single line of dialogue from the Bungo Stray Dogs dub trailer for a long time, assuming that the voice I heard was of one Koi Dao.
I also thought that. Fun fact, by the way, so I was when I was making the Bungo Stray Dogs Kids Next Door code on my memo pad on my phone, I found one that was just called Bungo Cast.
Oh.
It was not totally filled out, but it did have predictions for Atashi, Daizai, and Octogawa, which I also spelled Octogawa wrong. But
Whoops.
it was also last edited on April 1st, 2017, while we were at Anime Boston, that means.
Oh, yeah.
So I had 2 picks for Octogawa. One was Damon Mills, because I thought this was a Texas dub, and the other was Micah Solusad.
Okay.
I may as well bounce off of that one, because obviously we bounced off each other at AB. I also had Damon Mills as Octogawa, because Damon Mills would be fucking amazing as this. Let's not even joke about that. And then my second choice is actually Austin Tyndall.
Man,
for the same reason.
Man, I don't know if it's because I'm tired as shit, but I heard you bounced off each other and I thought something completely different.
Dude,
Get
I'm
your
bi,
mind out of
she's
the
not.
gutter.
I'm just really tired.
Get
Get
your mind out
Andrew,
of the gutter.
corner.
I'm already in a corner.
Go jack off on your PS Vita in the corner.
Dub Talk Classics presents Sword Art Online.
No! No!
I love you, Patrick.
Roots, what are your predictions for Octogawa?
Actually, this one was really easy. Dallas, LA, same guy. Matthew Mercer.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
Ooh, I can see it.
Oh.
What we got instead, ladies and gentlemen, is, let's see. We have a Mr. Brian Beacock in here as Ryunosuke Octogawa.
Can I do something really, really bad? First.
What?
Takatoman, no!
Jesus Christ.
Alright.
That was the worst impression,
It's
and
funny,
I hope
it's-
Stephen Bloom punches me in the face.
So, Steph,
It's funny you say that, because Brian Beacock has been in series such as Toradora, Blue Exorcist, and Digimon Train.
and
Tamers.
let's not
Why
forget.
do you think I made the joke?
Let's not forget. Damn it, you beat me to it. Fuck.
He's the game version of
back and-
Monokuma.
Boop, 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 boop. Go back and jerk off on your Vita to me, Andrew.
God.
Brian Beacock is the game version of Monokuma for
I think the
Danganronpa.
year I made the Monokuma cake, he was like, that's fucking cool.
He's also the best. He's also the best voice of Monokuma. Fuck you, fight me.
Oh,
Fuck you.
shit!
Fuck
Oh,
you.
fuck, we going down that road tonight! Oh,
Wow.
shit, bitch! Oh, shit,
This
bitch!
isn't we will have this discussion later. We don't have the time.
Anime Fest! Come one, come all to our panel at Anime Fest that we haven't signed up for yet, where you can watch Stephanie punch Andrew in his tiny balls.
What is it?
Greg,
You know
Andrew,
what?
bitch.
I'd join you guys.
Punching him in his tiny balls?
Yeah. Because I thought the both of them were about equal.
This is
With him and
welcome
Greg.
to the welcome to the Danganronpa 4 episode.
Oh boy. Anyways.
Anyway, so thoughts on Brian Beacock? Megan, will you please kick us off?
Oh boy.
He was fucking great. I did not expect Brian Peacock to be good. Obviously I'm going to be much harder on everybody else, on anybody, because this is my baby. Like, I love Octogawa even though he's a murderous psychopath. He's really cute, okay? And I ship him with Atashi, but that's another story. Don't at me. But no, one thing was really funny was, I think Andrew's gonna say this, Andrew had another character that sounds, and I disagree with him fully, by the way, that he sounds like it. I thought he was fucking phenomenal, and he was fucking terrifying, because the only thing I, honest to God, really know Brian Peacock is as Takato. Takato was murdering people! And I mean, there's like that one episode in Tamers where Takato gets really angry, but that's about it. Like, you could say, like, Monokuma is murderous, but, like, Octogawa is, like, fucking Satan. And I don't think I've ever heard
Debatable,
Brian...
but a different kind of Satan.
He
I
gets
mean,
all
he
his
was-
life lessons from a Hot Topic store, basically.
Yes.
You know what? Stop shaming him. He's a good boy. He's not a good boy at all, but you know what I mean. No, Brian Beacock was great. He got menacing down. He also got, when he was fighting Atashi on the boat, which, by the way, is hype as fuck.
It's a really good fight. Like,
That's
It's
how
a
you
good
remember
one.
this is a bone show.
yeah.
But, like, when he's talking and he's dealing with Daizai, I think he's got, like, a really good sense of childishness about him. Because I think Octogawa is also pretty childish as well.
Yep.
Because him and Atashi are very similar to each other. They were raised alone, and But instead of having somebody who cultivated his powers in a good way, they were cultivated for evil.
Ironically, by the same person.
Ironically, by the same person.
And in closing, I would like to point out the sheer irony in this, because in real life, it was not Daizai who inspired the real Ryunosuke Akutagawa, it was the other way around.
That is pretty interesting.
Also, B, we all know what Rashomon is because there's a very famous movie called Rashomon.
Mm-hmm.
It's also
Alright.
a very good movie.
Alright, Andrew, how do you feel about Brian's performance?
Okay. The fact that, like, the only role I was aware of Brian Beacock as I was watching this was Monokuma. I already knew, like, he was good in that, but this is really seeing what his acting range fully on display as, like, the rival villainous character. I got, instead of, like, less of what I thought I was gonna get was, like, more angry, like, teenage boy, which I guess is, like, the fan-in version. I got a very, almost Shakespearean presentation of what I got from Akutagawa. Edgelord, basically.
Edgelord.
But yes, that's kind of like what I was expecting, but it wasn't what I was expecting, but it totally fits exactly what he's trying to be. He's got this real strong menace commanding this. Like, he is the one in charge. He's the one with all the cards, and like when he does lose it, it is pretty like scary and terrifying. And here's the thing that I got a big vibe from that Megan disagrees with, but let me explain. He reminds me of Chris Aries' Frieza. There's something about the way he presents himself as this villainous, almost cocky villainous figure who has all the cards, all the power, and is untouchable. I get very Frieza vibes. And there's something about the tone of his voice, the fact that he uses bigger, more eloquent language, and that he is the one that commands all these servants and can destroy anybody at the drop of a hat. That really reminds me a lot of that I didn't piece together, but just the way his voice sounds, I got a very Frieza vibe. And I think it's really interesting and kind of made me appreciate this character and this actor a lot more than I think I was expecting to. Real talk, Brian Beacock is not a name I really paid much mind to. After this, he's someone I'm definitely going to pay attention to if I see him casted in somebody else. And he's already a goddamn good evil despair bear. And he's a goddamn really good evil despair angsty child who's trying to pawn for Senpai's attention.
Senpai noticed me. Roots, how do you feel about Brian's performance?
Alright, so funny story from the opening. I only watched like the first 2 episodes as the show was airing.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't actually get to Akutagawa until later.
Okay. Yeah.
But from my impressions from the OP, given the way, you know, he's constantly covering his mouth with just about, with either the hem of his coat or his mouth or his hand, I had assumed he would be a strong character, but more the butt of jokes. Like, they would use his this edgelord character design as the butt of a joke. So when I finally got to it, I was taken a bit aback.
That he's like a completely played straight character.
Yep.
Yeah. It's really hard for anime dubs to get that sense of menace correct. Because it's either not enough, or you overdo it and it's a little too hammy. This kind of struck that middle ground. God, I really like his scenes in episode 11 with the... not episode 11, episode 10 with the fight.
Oh, it's such a good fight!
And actually, episode 11, when he wakes up from the coma as a result of the
Oh,
fight...
yeah.
And he
episode
sounds
10.
genuinely sincere.
Yeah. That was one of those few times where he's actually sincere and he's more vulnerable.
I really liked it.
Kind of a good boy.
Give that man a hug.
Give him a hug. Oh God. So the first note I wrote about Brian's performance, and in all caps, surprise! It's Brian Beacock. 'Cause I never in a million years would have expected this, in the slightest. Because, the only times I've heard Brian be cock in anything was a little bit in Tamers. His otaku comedic character in Durarara, and of course his Monokuma in the video game. So this is completely different than anything I've ever seen him do before, because he's very surprisingly scary. He's surprisingly menacing and scary. It's something I would never imagine I would see, and this is one of two standout performances for me in the entire show. Like, I was blown away the instant I saw him in the third episode. And he actually has, going back to interesting dynamics, he's a part of two interesting dynamics that I wrote down. Those being his dynamic with Dazai, as the mentor and apprentice relationship under the Port Mafia, and it's more of a
he is the student. He is the student.
It's more of a brutal, almost abusive kind of relationship to an extent. And then you have the dynamic of Akutagawa and Atsushi, the two apprentices under the same teacher who were treated completely differently. And in Akutagawa's case, he's very, very jealous of Atsushi. Dazai thinks of Atsushi as the better pupil than Akutagawa ever was. And Akutagawa is pissed because he wants to prove himself to Dazai so he can be acknowledged by him. But Dazai left before he ever was acknowledged, and he's very mad about it. But all of those facets of Akutagawa, the menacing, the scary, the jealous, and the determination that he has to be acknowledged, his desire to be acknowledged by his mentor, all of those facets, Brian plays all of them amazingly and beautifully, and it's one of those standout performances for me for the entire show.
I'd say without a doubt, Akutagawa is fantastic, amazing, phenomenal.
And my boyfriend.
And Megan's boyfriend. But even then, in regards to the dub, he's still only...
You know what? I'm gonna go get my Nesobiri and hug him.
I was going to say, even in regards to the dub of Bungo Stray Dogs, just like in the actual show Bungo Stray Dogs, he's only the silver medal.
Moving on, we're down to two characters. Let's talk about Osamu Dazai, our suicidal maniac. Dazai is, he's a member of the Armed Detective Agency and a former executive of the Port Mafia, as we have mentioned a few times. Dazai is an interesting character, to say the least.
Boy.
Because... I don't know, because he's very eccentric and weird, but we'll get into that a little more. Dazai's ability is known as no longer human, which allows him to cancel any ability by touch.
What's that? You wanted to do something? Nah, fam.
So, or as Dazai himself puts it, he's anti-gifted. So, predictions for Dazai. I had 3.
I had 2 Texans. My 2 Texan predictions, my first one was Joel McDonald. And my second one was Dave Trosco.
All right. Wow. Interesting.
I tried to not play it safe with Dazai, because I didn't... My biggest fear was the one that we were all thinking, hey, he's played by Mamoru Miyano. Please don't let it be Vic Mignogna.
That's fair. And I had similar ideas, but not quite that. In regards to Dazai, I had 2 in mind. One was Robbie Damon. I thought would have been a really fitting voice for that particular aesthetic character. The other one, a little more risky, but also fitting in my mind since he's a very talented actor, Ben Diskin.
Let's see here. Who did I have? I also had a Texan and a Californian. For the Dallas voice actor, I had Mike McFarland. And for the LA, Doug Airholtz.
All right.
My predictions for Dazai. I have 3. One of them is actually also Joel McDonald. He was my second choice because I thought it would be a lot of fun. My third choice was a default to Eric Vale because that would also be fun. My first choice, though, because I think this is after Noragami. of course. I think actually this was probably after Noragami Arigato, where I decided to throw.
Is it Jason Lebrecht?
It's Jason Lebrecht.
Of course it is.
Nice.
It would have been a fun fucking show, let's face it.
Yeah.
But instead, in a fun little twist, because this episode is full of fun casting and fun little twists.
Steph, before you say it,
Can I do it, please?
hang on.
Hold on, what?
I would like to direct all of you. What is the current name of this chat room right now?
Megan.
Holy shit, it's KG Tang!
What up? It is KG Tang who's
Thank you,
playing
Sarah
Osamu.
Williams.
Yeah, KG Tang is the voice of Osamu Dazai, who has been in series such as Anohana, Kill la Kill, which I believe that is the source of that joke, blooper, and Prince of Stride Alternative. So, Megan, can you go first with your thoughts on Dazai, please?
Well, I think KG Tang was taking a whiz and the arc was just perfect.
I was taking a drink, you asshole!
Not even sorry.
Fuck you! I will spit my coffee up on my notes and that would have been bad.
No, it would have been funny as
Make
fuck.
sure
I
it's a
murdered you.
Steph, make sure it's a perfect angle.
God damn it!
And then you will achieve the higher plane that KG Tang's performance is on. Okay, literally, I can't see it. Show of hands. Who actually thought this was going to work?
I did, actually.
I thought
Bullshit!
This was gonna work.
Okay,
Bullshit.
here's the...
Okay, here's my thing. I don't think KG Tang's a bad actor, but I associated KG Juicy Flanagan Tang as big, gruff dudes. And of course, I had seen Anohana, and of course, okay, Popo's comedic and dramatic, but Popo isn't a fucking Mamoru Miyano character.
Fair.
Yo, among Seiyu, even if you're not into Japanese subtitle tracks, y'all know who the fuck Mamoru Miyano is.
Mm-hmm.
Mamoru Miyano, you know, the guy who plays characters like fucking JJ and Tsukiyama, who you have to basically consume a pig factory to get on his level of ham. And somehow KG Tang is phenomenal. I didn't think he could do it, but he nails every single aspect of this character to the point that it is the single most flawless comedic performance I've heard in an anime in years. And that's saying something. I think he's better than almost every W I've given to a comedic performance in the last couple years.
Damn.
There is nothing bad I can say about this performance. He does the dramatic stuff well. He flips, switches so well. There's a part where he has to act like he's high on shrooms. There is nothing he gets wrong. It's honestly, I love Mamoru Miyano, but I think I actually like KG Tang as Daizai better.
Big words, but you're right.
I'm not kidding you. It's that good.
Oh no, you're totally fucking right.
There is nothing wrong with this performance. And it is, I hate when my W's are decided in the fucking winner. I'm sorry. No one, if you can top KG Tang's comedic performance, you have probably sold your soul to the devil or are in fact doing Quaaludes in the booth.
So what you're saying is expect KG's name to pop up again this year.
Oh, definitely. I want KG Tang doing more lead roles like this. He is so enigmatic and charming and crazy, and you want to smack him in the face. I mean, I was sold the second I heard that trailer. I was like, there's no... And the other thing was, I couldn't believe it was KG Tang!
Surprise, motherfucker!
Oh my god, I'm gonna stop because I don't want to take away from all the other nice things y'all are gonna say.
Yeah, spoiler alert. None of us are gonna say any bad things.
Spoiler alert.
So.
Oh no!
Oh no.
He's making.
I agree.
He's doing funny noises. Speaking of funny noises, KG fucking Tang! KG Tang is a very talented actor who I've heard in a number of things over the years. Like, he's got a lot of variety, I've been informed, in video games, but as far as, like, what we cover in anime...
I feel really bad because I totally forgot he's probably one of the funniest fucking Fire Emblem characters of all time.
He is Owain. Like I said...
He's Owain / Odin Dark. And if you've never... Steph, like, I need to get you a DS so you can play Awakening, because literally, Owain is fucking great.
Owain is great, and he's also, like, he's 3 different characters in the Danganronpa franchise, now that I fucking think about it. That's really...
Down, Sword Hand!
As far as, like, what we've covered in anime and stuff, he's mostly, for a while, been big, gruff, like, tough guy. Like, he's got some variety to that. Like, Popo was definitely one of the most surprising changes I had seen to his versatility, but this is even further beyond. This went above and beyond. Like, I'm blown away by this. Like, this is already a pretty ambitious cast. This is, like, the creme de la creme. And he breathes so much life into this character. Like, I did not care much for him in Japanese, but it's like I completely got everything about what this character was trying to be completely from KG's performance. Like, everything, there's so many I could point out, like, from the the comedic delivery when he's fucking with Chuya, to when he's messing with Dazai about his ideal woman, where it's like, I knew you were having wild
Dopo, you mean?
Yes, Dopo. I knew you're having wild fantasies about it, so I didn't bother correcting you because it was funny to me. And just they bounce, him and Dopo bounce off each other. KG Tang and Patrick Seitz they are both actors who play very gruff, tough, badass men, and they are doing, like, Bishonen comedic gold. And it works so well. God damn. Without a doubt, bar none, KG Tang as Osamu Dazai, the star of this dub. Period.
Okay.
Done.
Roots.
Alright, because mainly I'm going to agree with Megan and Andrew basically 100% of the way. I'd rather take my segment and provide a little anecdote.
Okay.
I started watching Bungo Stray Dogs, the dub, like 3 or 4 days ago. I get to KG Tang, and then I put into our group chat for the show, and I do believe I'm quoting here, because my phone's charging at the other side of the room, so I can't check. Shut the fuck up, that is not KG Tang.
I think I remember you saying that. Let me look for it.
And then we were all like, yes, it is.
And then, Steph, actually, you were the one who corrected me. Yes, it's KG Tang. And I respond, that's bullshit. Next post, bull. Next post, shit. I really like the performance. It's probably my favorite of the show. He has to be all over the place. And despite the fact that I am familiar with more of KG Tang's range than most anime allow him to have, thanks to basically Fire Emblem.
You also know who else he's gonna be?
Huh.
Motherfucker's Detective Pikachu.
That's right!
That's hilarious!
Someone just... Okay, I want YouTube poop of Detective Pikachu as dubbed by Taisai.
KG Tang, off the walls. I want more of that in anime.
Want to know what the first note I wrote down for my entire set of notes for the show was?
Holy shit.
Murder Megan at Anime Boston because she's probably going to make this into like a 4-hour episode because she's a psychopath?
No. The first note I wrote down while watching the episode today, and in all caps, surprise, it's KG Tang. This is the other standout performance in the show, and my favorite performance in the show, bar none.
Like I said, even in the dub and in the real show, Octagawa's only number 2 compared to Dazai.
I mean, Dazai himself has a lot of personality to him. He's both off the wall and energetic, but because we have been talking about this a lot, he is a former Port Mafia executive. He can be dark and menacing.
He can.
He can, and we've seen it. We have seen it happen. And even when he's now with the Armed Detective Agency, we do see moments where he can be very, very serious. Serious, but also has like a like almost a shit-eating grin on his face.
Funny enough,
like is it
like the voice he uses when he's like training Akutagawa in the Port Mafia, and like when he gets more intimidating, is like more what I associate Keiichi's voice in anime with.
Yeah.
Which is why it's really interesting that he was cast as this role.
And it's also, and I was about to actually bring up because his interaction with Chuya that we get to see. That's a fun interaction too. Because going back to all these interesting dynamics, like Keiichi has a really interesting dynamic with Nicholas Roy. He also has a very interesting dynamic with Patrick Seitz and Kunikita. Because those two dynamics are similar, but the character personalities and character types that both Nicholas and Patrick have to play are completely different. So those interactions and dynamics that Keiichi plays off of are really interesting, and he has fun with that. And then there's also, like we were saying before, like we were just saying, his dynamic with Akutagawa and Brian Beacock's performance is also very interesting. And there are so many interesting facets to Dazai's character that, like, we don't have time to talk about them. Like,
we could make an entire podcast that is tonight just talking about Keiji Tank as Dazai.
we honestly probably could.
Probably.
Because it's downright amazing. And, but I think one of my favorite, because my favorite thing about this performance, he demonstrates how vast his range can be with just Dazai. And it's interesting because, like I was saying, there is the dark and menacing, which is, as Andrew was saying, is pretty close to what we typically associate Keiji Tank performances to be. Then there's the slightly goofy, kind of eccentric kind of guy. And then, because I had to step away for a minute, because I was getting more iced coffee, which is probably a terrible decision at almost midnight. But I didn't know if this got brought up. Then you have the moments like the fucking mushroom.
Ah!
Yep.
It's probably one of my favorite faces in the whole show.
Okay, by the way, this show has some really good reaction faces.
By the way, we should point out that the guy who directed this did direct some episodes, I think, of Oron and Soul
No,
Eater.
he's the main director of both.
No, but seriously, like, Kunikita!
Ah!
You want to join me over on this? I'm like,
There's so
oh
many
my
rainbow pill bugs here!
Just with Dazai's character alone, you see how vast Keiji's range is, and it is... Oh, I love it. It's great. It's... A lot of people probably never would have expected this casting to happen, let alone to work. I figured it would work. I just didn't know it was going to happen. Because I'm just like... Because I was under the impression, and I'm crossing my fingers, that it was supposed to be a Dallas dub, but of course it didn't happen. But, now that this show came out, I can't see anyone but Keiji Tang as Dazai. Like, even my predictions that I had, I'm like, no, none of this would work anymore. It has to be Keiji Tang. It has to be, because he's just downright amazing, and the range he has to pull off in this show is extensive, and I have to commend him for it. It's absolutely my favorite, and probably, in my opinion, the best performance of the show.
Toss the laptop in the trash and then pull it back out because you gotta use it for podcasting and stuff.
Yes. Are we good to move on to our last character?
Yes.
Our last character of the night, Atsushi Nakajima. He is our lead orphan. He gets tossed out of the orphanage due to an attack by a monstrous tiger destroying shit. But the orphanage declined to tell Atsushi that he is, in fact, a were-tiger, and he possesses the ability to turn into a tiger. Hence the name of his ability, Beast Beneath the Moon. Or Beast Beneath the Moonlight, I believe. And throughout the course of the series, Atsushi, because he gets taken in by Daizai and the Armed Detective Agency, over the course of the series, he gains a lot more confidence in himself, and he becomes a much more.
He's a good boy.
He's a good.
He becomes
boy.
a
much more
very
confident agent.
good boy and a very badass character. An archetype I'm really a big fan of.
Predictions for Atsushi. I have 2.
I have none because this was the first role that was announced, and
it got spoiled.
And that's what clued me in to restart my casting list again and make me realize, wait a second, this is actually a California dub. So I don't have any. I had everything for everybody else. I don't have any for Atsushi since that was the first one that clued me in. This was Cali dub.
I have 2, and they're Texas, and they're probably the most vanilla safe. Well, okay. At the time when I made this, one was super vanilla and safe. The other one wasn't. My first prediction obviously was Justin Briner. My second prediction, and at the time this wasn't vanilla, but Steph would agree that my other prediction would have been Dallas Reed.
I'm gonna agree with that. Dallas Reed was my second pick for Atsushi, actually. But my first choice was actually maybe not vanilla, but it would be an interesting choice. I had Aaron Dismuke as my first choice for Atsushi.
All right, so my Dallas one was Damon Mills. My LA one was Kyle McCarley, and the weird one that I probably thought could work either way, but I don't even remember why I wrote it down. It was Joshua Seth.
Joshua Seth?
I mean, considering he came back for Digimon Adventure Try.
That's right.
The individual who's voicing Atsushi Nakajima is one Mr. Max Middleman, who has been in series such as Your Lie, April 7, Deadly Sins, and One Punch Man. Megan, how do you feel about Max's performance as Atsushi?
I actually felt that this was the absolute safest prediction of safest casting in the whole show.
Safer than Vic?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
No, if they were gonna go super safe with Vic would have been Daizai.
True.
Fair. The Mam's curse is a thing.
Even for as safe as it is, I fucking love the shit out of it because I love Max Middleman performances. Legitimately, if you don't know, Max Middleman is actually probably one of my favorite voice actors. He's a super sweet guy, by the way. I've gotten the pleasure to meet him in person. And it was also really funny because I played Persona 5 and I'm not done with it, and he's fucking Ryuji, who is the complete opposite of Atsushi. But I think he nails Atsushi's, naivete and trauma and fear a lot, and that's something Max Middleman is super good at doing as an actor. He is absolutely perfect. He makes Atsushi even more adorable than he was in the Japanese. And to leave it off, I would also like to say that the show credits him 3 times.
Oh yeah!
They need to credit him as regular normal Atsushi, Tiger Atsushi, and Baby Atsushi. And I thought that was really funny for some fucking reason.
Yeah, they list the credits in alphabetical order to sequence. It's weird.
And it's really dumb. And I would also actually like to point out this. This one goes out to anybody who's watched the Japanese version of The Ancient Magus Bride. I would like to point out to you that Atsushi is also the voice of Matthew the Cat Killer in the Japanese.
Oh shit!
Boy.
Anyway, I thought Max was great. He's probably the one I have the least comments on because I'm used to hearing Max Middleman play a lot of these characters.
Andrew.
I'm the same. I have the least to say, but that being said, it is once again a true exploration of the comedic timing as well as the genuine badass dramatic moments that are in Max Middleman's range. Like the goofy noises he makes throughout the entirety of the show as an observer is genuinely entertaining as all hell and must have been a lot of fun for Max to do in the booth, and I respect the hell of that. Also, he screams really good and it sounds like it hurts.
you know, if you blow yourself up, you'll be dead. And by dead, I mean really dead.
Yeah, he is out once funny, silly, but also kind of cool, badass, sweet, sincere, and actually really good fights, really comes into his own and really develops as a character, and I quite enjoy the entire package that Max Middleman has on display. I mean, it kind of sounds mean that I'm saying it like this, but it's kind of what I expect from Max Middleman at this point, but that's not a bad thing per se. That just means he is good at what he does, and when I see him, I expect good things. And the fact that I am still getting really good things with him as Atsushi and really entertained by it is a testament to his skill and ability as an actor, and I very much enjoyed him as Atsushi.
I too have very few things to say, but in general, that's a very positive thing. I like the performance. I like that he was able to do the goofball and the little ball of anxiety. And, he was really good in the episode 10 fight. Actually, also the episode 12 fight.
Ooh, yeah. Against Lucy.
Yeah, that was some really good acting between him and Christina V and Keith Silverstein. I guess the thing I like about it is he is able to play off whoever he is on screen with very, very well.
I guess that leaves me. So I agree with all of that that you guys just said. Max is adorable. He's perfect as Atsushi. I mean, is it probably the most predictable casting choice that happened? Probably. But that doesn't mean it's terrible. Because there's a reason why he got cast in this role, of course. Just like everybody else. And it works. Like, the interesting thing, though, with me and Max, my knowledge of Max's performance and range, this is probably the most comedic I've seen him go.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I will agree this is probably more comedic, but...
Because,
yeah.
Because the thing is, some people might yell at me and say, but what about Saitama from One Punch Man?
Saitama's played straight most of the time.
Exactly. That's more of a straight character.
Yeah, it's everybody around him.
With, maybe minor twinges of comedy in there. And that's the point of Saitama. Atsushi, on the other hand, is straight up an anxiety-filled, comedic kind of performance. So this is a very different side that we're getting to see of Max and his range, and I really appreciate that. Because, I've seen him go dramatic with Your Lie in April. I've seen him go straight man in a comedy in One Punch Man. Now I'm seeing him as comedic. Sometimes the butt of the joke on occasion.
The butt of the joke regularly.
Yes. But also seeing him as this down on his luck, anxiety-ridden child who just doesn't know what to do or how to feel because he feels a lot of guilt for dragging people into a mess that he somehow did not intentionally cause, just because he has a gift of being a were-tiger. And it's really interesting the range that Max plays with Atsushi. Again, like I was saying earlier, the little bit where he confronts Junichiro Tanizaki in episode 2 during his test, and he's like, if you blow yourself up, you'll be dead. And by dead, I mean really dead. So why don't we look for jobs together, okay?
Well, and by dead, I mean really dead.
Really dead. It was, there's a lot of facets to the character, and as Atsushi grows more confident and he becomes a more competent and reliable agent among the Armed Detective Agency, you can see Max's performance just grow with it, and it's a wonderful and natural progression for the character. And again, he like many of the other characters have fun, interesting dynamics with a bunch of these characters. His dynamic with Brian Octagawa as a rivalry jealous type of deal is fantastic. His dynamic with Keiji Tang as Dazai is downright hilarious and amazing. And the other big one that I wanted to make note of was his dynamic with Jeremy as Kyoka. It's also very, very interesting. And my brain actually had an interesting thought because him, Atsushi Octagawa, and Kyoka are all one and the same. All three of these kids have been orphaned and have dealt with had rough upbringings to some extent, and they are brought in to be used by these different powers that be. Some of these cases they turned out badly. In Atsushi's case, he's the lucky one. He's the lucky one who didn't have to go down that route. Kyoka's case is she was saved. Octagawa, unfortunately, is the one out of this trio who is stuck in his circumstance, and more because he chose to be, rather than to try and get out of it. but it's very interesting, those three characters, how similar they are to each other, yet how each one of them goes throughout the series and where they end up and how they get there is very different, and how they react to each of those things. I find it's very interesting comparison between the three. But bottom line really is Max's performance as Atashi is adorable as hell. I love it to pieces. It's not my favorite, obviously, because KG Tang stole the show and fucking ran with it. But it's still a fun performance nonetheless. I think at this point we are ready to wrap things up, and we need to go into final thoughts. And we're going to have to make this very, very brief. Megan, can you go first for me, please?
Hell yeah! I love this show! I love this dub! It is fucking great! You are dumb if you miss it! Don't let what other people say, because I saw a lot of people like, oh, this dub sucks, they don't fucking pronounce everything right. Remember, kids, if they're not pronouncing something right, they probably got asked by the Japanese to fucking do it. Please watch Bungo Stray Dogs. Please fucking watch it. It is an amazingly fun show. It is not fucking My Hero. I know that a lot of people are probably like, why do you keep bringing up My Hero? It's because they're both bone shows. They both came out around the same time, and they are both very popular. Don't go into, and they both have, like, people with supernatural powers. Don't go into that thinking it's a show. Go into this wanting to watch a fun, mafia, dumb time. Also be Fight Me that the show's first ending is one of the best anime endings of all time. Fuck you, Fight Me. I love it. Good job to everyone in the cast, but especially to you, Mr. KG fucking Tang.
I won't fight you on
Rainbow Pillbugs!
I won't fight you on the ending bit. Andrew, final thoughts.
Okay, straight up, this was something that really surprised me. It's like I was expecting a lot of big things, considering I've been hearing Megan ask about this stuff for at least a few months to close to a year or so.
Remember, I went into the stratosphere upset because they didn't announce it at AF.
She's been at this
She's
for
been
like
at this
2
for a
years.
while, so it kind of feels surreal that we are actually covering this now. That being said, I'm really surprised with what we got. I did not know how this dub was going to come out, who was going to be in it, whatever. Everybody that got into it, I think I enjoyed every single thing about it. All these people put their heart and soul into these performances. There's a lot of personality dynamic. Making a lot of these comedic timing moments really flow while also making it naturally fit into dramatic sequences is not easy. And that's something that the show and this dub manages to accomplish spectacularly. The dub's great, the script's great, everybody sounds like they're having a fucking blast. I'm really glad this was picked up. I'm really glad, like, Funny Roll really managed to come together to make this dub happen, that we can cover it, that we can talk about it. I loved it a lot. Really good. Great job.
Roots, go! Roots, final thoughts, go!
I think that was a very good dub, not quite a great dub, but very standout performances, marred by some minor miscasting and double casting. Kind of an interesting little experiment with this and another show we're going to be covering down the line. Basically, the Crunchyroll Studiopolis dubs. Interesting little experiment. Now, Funimation and Crunchyroll, goddammit, get it on Thunderbolt Fantasy. Moving on.
My final thoughts. Very, very solid dub. Well written. Well directed. Minor, well, not exactly minor nitpicks. Slight issue with the double casting, but that might not be on the actors, it might be on the studio. Slight issues with some performances, but despite that, I think with what they were given, they did rather well with it. There are some standout performances from standout performances and surprises that you would not expect, and there's some underrated performances that you should just not miss. There are performances that are set up wonderfully that I really want the second season now. I wish I didn't have to wait for who knows how fucking long at this point.
Hopefully by the end of this year, because I think Ace Attorney was January and May?
Sounds about right.
So it's like about a 4 month gap, so probably July.
Sounds about right. The only issue is Ace Attorney is Dallas.
I think they've probably worked on it all around the same time. We'll figure it out.
I would hope
the bigger
so.
question to me is, are they going to pick up the movie? Because I really hope they...
Fucking better!
But anyway, very solid. It's a fun show. It's not so far, it's not the best I think I've seen this year so far. Maybe in terms of...
Oh yeah, no, this is not as close to Devilman Crybaby to me.
Well, I haven't seen Devilman. It may not be the best that I've seen so far, but it comes pretty close. But it is a lot of fun, and I want season 2 like right fucking now. Can we please? I would love it like right now. But on that note, I believe we are done for the night.
Horse out, fast.
Working on it. All right, here we go. Speed round, lightning round. If you are interested in seeing the English dub for Bungo Stray Dogs, the first season of the dub is available on Funimation now, as of right now. If you are interested in catching it, they do have a subscription service, a 14-day free trial where you can try out their subscription services if you are interested in doing so. However, as always, remember that if you do not want to keep a subscription after the 14-day free trial, please cancel it because they do ask for credit card information and will charge your account after the 14 days. If you do want to see the show in general and in the Japanese, you can head on over to the Crunchyroll where they have that, but they also have both seasons, first and second season of the series itself, if you're interested in that. They also have a subscription service if you're interested in their premium service. However, it is actually not required to have that subscription service in order to watch Bungo Stray Dogs. And if you want to see anything else that the four of us do, of course, my name is Stephanie, also known as Lilac. You can follow me on Twitter at Lilac Anime Review. Review being spelled R-E-V-U-E. Megan, her Twitter handle is at QueenEra2. She is also a moderator for the Funimation forums and the Funimation Discord.
Not yet forums.
Well,
Funimation Discord.
In the works. Wow, I lost my train of thought. Okay. I was trying to do lightning round. Roots, you can follow him on Twitter at Roots of Justice if you're interested in Pug's posts, conspiracy theories, and a bunch of other things. Andrew, you can follow him on Twitter at MangaMan9000. He is also a moderator for the Funimation Discord. And I want to say the forums, but that's probably not true yet. It is?
No, he is a forum mod now.
So you are officially a forum mod. Okay. Beautiful.
Congratulations, Mazel Tov.
If you are interested in anything else that Dub Talk does in general, the best way to do so, of course, is subscribing to us here on YouTube, where we post videos every single week, sometimes twice a week, depending on what the hell's going on. We also have a Twitter account, Instagram account, Tumblr, and a Twitch channel if you're interested in following any of those. All of them are at Dub Talk Podcast. And a couple more things, because the goal is to post this the Wednesday of Anime Boston. A couple quick reminders, because we haven't made the announcement video as of yet. Two big things. One, we are hosting our first ever Twitch live stream. I believe we decided to set it on Thursday night. We don't have a time yet as of recording this, but
we're not telling you what we're playing, but it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a lot of we're debating on announcing it in the actual announcement video, because I'm thinking in my head maybe if we post that on the Monday.
You'll figure it out when you get there.
We'll figure it out. But we are going to be having our first ever Twitch live stream as a group. With the people going to Anime Boston on Thursday night. We don't have a time yet. We also have, if you are in the Boston area and are going to Anime Boston, please come join us. Oh God, I gotta pull up my phone.
6:30 on Saturday.
Oh no!
Please join us.
Let me do it. Because we actually, as we were recording this episode, I got my email for the date and time and the room for where our panel is going to be. So we were approved by Anime Boston for the evolution of English dubbed anime with the Dub Talk podcast. We are scheduled for our panel on Saturday the 31st at 6:30 p.m. in the Sheraton panel. For the Sheraton panel in the
that's
Fens,
a good room.
it says. Mm-hmm. So we have a pretty decent sized room. I'm hoping we can fill it. I would love to fill that this time. So please come and check us out and say hi to us if you can. Otherwise than that, if you see any of us roaming around Anime Boston, I know myself, Megan, Roots, Amon, Sneebs, Zenith, we will all be there over the weekend.
As well with other friends.
As well as other friendos. But I believe at that point that is all we have left for the night. Oh boy! Speed run, lightning run. Okay.
I think this is single-handedly the longest episode.
Oh, I'm gonna make sure it's not the longest episode, okay? Because let's be fair, we had to take several breaks partway through. Yeah.
There's also a lot of filler stuff in between. Let's be.
Not a filler that I can cut, and it's.
You can cut out the 10 minutes of wooing of dog noises.
I don't even know why she went there, but okay. But on that note, I think we are good.
It's the Twilight bark, bitch.
I need to slow down. I need to breathe. I'm used to talking.
That coffee's hitting in.
No. My thing is I naturally tend to talk very, very fast, so sometimes I have to actually mentally think and process and slow myself down,
Steph,
deliberately. But
Steph, can I stop, please?
Hold on. Well, from all of us here at Dub Talk, it's time to go to bed. Thank you guys for joining us on our long excursion, our long-awaited excursion into this fun little show. Please go watch the show. Please go get the show. I think we are done for the night. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us in Otaku One, my friend.
Otaku on, everybody.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
暗闇も長い坂道も越えていけ